Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it well, and you've seen other people do it. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content now. Share it through your social media, share it through word of mouth, and even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to be doing an interesting show. Something I ain't even had no choice about this. I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay, I can't tell y'all what happens off air, but I'm gonna tell you I ain't even had no choice in this one. Okay, I ain't even had no choice. We was gonna do this show, or Ross was gonna be in trouble. But we're looking at the Oscars, y'all, sinners and etc. Because in real life, we had our main interest in how they were going to treat the movie Sinners and all the different things that go along with it. And, anything else that kind of popped up, we might say something on that too. But the real interest was in what they were going to do with Sinners. What was the results? How did things go down? But before we go too far into this, first of all, I want to say shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis, because y'all make up the fam, and I appreciate that big time. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream. You are helping with the algorithm, and I do appreciate that. Shout out to the people who hype me up every chance they get, because there's never a wrong time to hype up the Roger Report Live. And shout out to all the people who hit that like button. Y'all are helping grow the channel, and I definitely appreciate it. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty, the people who allow me to do so much more than what I would have did. The people who become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And y'all, at this particular point, I never got a chance to fix that damaged phone. They got all my all my different people who have given, you know what I'm saying, given something toward the show. So I'm for the next, until I have a chance to get that taken care of, I'm gonna highlight a few people. All right, I'm gonna highlight a few people, you know, just off memory. But there was a brother. I'm not sure if he's with us anymore. Okay, a great brother, a great supporter who supported me for a long time, right in the very beginning, y'all. Okay, I don't know if y'all remember him, but since I've been doing this sponsor the stream, I really haven't had a chance to really put his name because I haven't seen him around. So he may not be no longer be with us, but I want to give a special shout out to Donald Wayne Carroll, man. He was a great supporter. I definitely appreciate that, brother. I'm hoping at this point that maybe he moved on to glory. I don't know for sure, but just ain't seen him around. But I want to give a special shout out to Donald Wayne Carroll, one of my first strong supporters, y'all. I'll say it like that. One of my first very strong supporters. So shout out to Donald Wayne Carroll, or even his family if he's no longer with us. I appreciate that brother big time. I appreciate that brother big time. So shout out to Donald Wayne Carroll, y'all. And as we found out Friday, we found out live on air, y'all. There's been some stuff going on with matter of fact, before I even get into that, first of all, shout out to some of the first people to check in with me this morning. It's always great that when you see a show that you got a few people checking in right away. I appreciate that big time. And we had a few people check in today, which is always great to see. But as y'all know, there can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream, my main man, MJD the second is in the building. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Appreciate you big time, brother. Appreciate you big time. Shout out to Elder Blood coming in right behind him. Great to see you. We got my main man, Red Pill Sleeper Cell in the building. What's good? Trail Billy is in the house representing as he always does. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Floyd Thompson is in the house. Yay. Great to see you, my brother. Great to see you. We got my main man, the pitmaster himself. Chef Mike's Roundtable is in the building. Great to see you. We also have Ton Runner in the house. Great to have you, brother. Inspired Truth Broadcast is here. What's up? Great to see you. Afro Merchant is in the building. Shout out to you. And we got Gyogami in the house. Done pulled up a seat to the cool table, y'all. I feel good, y'all. And we about to get into this thing, y'all. The Oscars have come and gone for 2026. And it's definitely gonna be about how they treated the movie Sinners, y'all. Now, as we found out live on air, there's gonna be some issues. There were some issues I'm having posting the link in the description. I couldn't even pin the link, y'all. It won't even allow me to pin the link for some reason. Okay, I dropped the link in before the show started. I tried to drop the link after the show starts. Well, after a little bit, and I see that didn't even register, so y'all didn't even see that one. Y'all didn't even see it. I don't even think they showed the one ahead of time. So what I decided to do, y'all, because sometimes people make trouble for you. You got to be innovative sometimes. You got to be innovative and go around stuff, and that's the mark of black men. We're gonna make stuff happen no matter what happens. Okay, we gonna make stuff happen. So you know what I decided to do, y'all? If you look at the sponsor of today's stream, if you look at that line going across, all right, at the very end of that now, I'm gonna be putting in the link to join. Okay, I'll be putting in the link to join right under. Right past on the sponsor of the stream. So you'll see it rolling across. Okay, I'll try to remind folks from time to time that of where it's located, but unfortunately for right now, somebody's gonna have to type it in. Now, you guys can see if y'all can put it in the chat as the show goes on. They won't allow me to do it. Okay, that's what I'm finding out right now. They're not gonna allow me to post it. You know, I'm gonna try again right now just to see again. You know, yeah, they're not allowing me to do it, but hey, it is what it is. So we're gonna be all right though. We're gonna be all right. But shout out to J Bones. I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you, my brother. He just came through, dropped the first super sticker of the day. So thank you for getting me off to the good start, my brother. Appreciate it big time. Appreciate it big time. And that's real talk. Okay. I see Yogami was able to do it. So you know, I'll try to see if I can pin yours, Gilgamy. I'm gonna try to see if I can pin yours, and then maybe we can work from there. But you know, I guess they're gonna make stuff a little more difficult over here at the Roger Report Live. But that's all right. That's all right. They're gonna do what they want to do, and it's gonna be okay. We gonna make it happen around here, y'all. Are you okay? If a black man stopped on something like this, man, black men would get nowhere. And that's just real talk. But y'all, we're gonna have a discussion about the Oscars and how they treated the movie Sinners. Now, I will say this, y'all. I did see that when it come down to it, when it was time for them to say the best picture of the year. Now, well, let me say this, being 100% honest. Do I really watch the Oscars? No, I don't. I don't really watch the Oscars. Okay, but I had to watch it this year. Okay, I had to watch it this year. I saw them roll out things for best movie, and that's what the Oscars all about. Who's gonna get that Oscar-winning movie for a film? And then for a lot of people, it's about the best actor, best actress. Now I don't know if they did it in the past. Maybe they have done it in the past. So just maybe that they got that many different films nominated for Oscars. When they start reading off, and shout out to Gilgamy. Thank you for doing that, brother. Thank you for doing that. I'm trying to post it I'm trying to highlight it so it'll be at the top of the screen. I don't know if they're gonna let me do it though. Doesn't like they let me do that right now either. So. But if you would drop it every once in a while, that'll be okay. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. All right. And I'm going to start putting it on the banner just so people will know. And we'll just work it from there. We'll just have to work it from there. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. When it comes down to it, the movie Sinners, which is one of our main interests, especially as black men, or even black people, should be one of our main interests for this particular Oscars. I saw all those different films and I was like, what? They nominated what, about 10 films or something? If you nominate that many films, I already figured, it wasn't gonna win Best Picture. Okay. And that was a decision I made in real time. When I knew they were gonna highlight some films, I'm thinking, 4 or 5 films get nominated or something, but then they kept going. I was like, I don't know exactly how many they nominated. It seemed like it was about 10 of them. I was like, ain't nowhere in the world you nominating this many films and Sinners gonna win. All right. Just is what it is. You cannot nominate that many films and then Sinners gonna actually win it. That's just crazy work. Okay. Shout out to you, Trust. Great to see you. Great to see you. So, not that I'm gonna say I had any hope for Sinners to win. I'm not gonna say I had hope for Sinners to win. I understood why Sinners could win. I definitely understood that. And as a person who's watched a bunch of movies, I seen a decent amount of these films. Now I hadn't seen or heard of all these particular films. Okay, a movie Frankenstein was getting a lot of love that I didn't even know that came out. I think maybe, just possibly, I might have seen it once that it was out and didn't pay no attention to it or something. Maybe that happened, but I don't even remember that movie even coming out. I really don't. You know, looks like Emma Stone did something with some type of powerful performance, and maybe had some great impact with how she was looking and the fact that she was bald head and all that. You know. So I'm not gonna say there wasn't some real good competition out there. I saw the movie one battle after another. I'm definitely not surprised that it was getting the love it was getting, and I'm not saying that any of these films didn't deserve the love. I will say this, okay? In the past, as I have watched the Oscars, they used to mention these films that I like never heard of, never seen them played in theaters, and then the ones that I did see, I will say some of their choices was a little suspect to me. Okay, they're a little suspect to me. All right, but I do understand winning an Oscar is the Super Bowl. Okay, that's like getting a Super Bowl ring. All right, it's the thing. That's like winning the NBA Finals. That's the thing. That's like winning the World Series. That's the thing. It's like winning the Stanley Cup. That's the thing. So it is the thing for Hollywood. All right. You want to get into the Academy and you want to be, even being nominated for Oscars, gives people a certain level of prestige. Okay. It gives people a certain level of prestige. But to win an Oscar, that takes people to a whole new career level. It means new and better money. So I understand why, people would appreciate winning the award. I'm not saying people intentionally go out to win the award, but, of course they appreciate winning the award. All right. And as an actor, that money go up, they say. They say the quickest road to being a $20 million per film actor, the quickest road to that is through the Oscars. Okay, the quickest road to getting 20 million in film is through the Oscars. Okay, now I'm not saying a person can't make more than that. Certain reports and things say that Robert Downey Jr. be getting crazy money now that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become as big as it is. They say that man be getting crazy money now. But the quickest road to $20 million a film is through the Oscars. Okay, you get that? You get to say a little something, okay? So, of course, it was going to be very interesting on how they were going to treat the film Sinners. Now, Sinner was a fantastic movie, okay? I know personally myself, I'm trying to get away from watching demon-inspired movies. That's what we call them. And, when I grew up in the church, we trying to get away from demon-inspired movies. And I'm gonna say that because this was a story where vampires was a main piece of the film. Now I didn't even watch like any trailers for Sinners. I just went in there, saw what it was, because there are certain people that I just bet on they're gonna do good movies. Actors get to a certain position where they don't have to do bad movies anymore. And Michael B. Jordan is a person that I basically just simply depend on. If he in the movie's going to be good. I don't really have to concern myself with different movies. Now, I do that for different men, even white folks. Bruce Willis was a person I pretty much depended on. Where Bruce Willis was doing the movie, I know I could just go see it. Of course, there were black men. Of course, the black men that has been around for a while. Denzel Washington, if he do it, I just see the movie. I ain't got to worry about all that. Even the Will Smith. I've never worried about watching a Will Smith movie and the Will Smith movie not being good. I just never had to worry about that. All right. And I know some of y'all may say, what about Wild Wild West? I never happened to see that movie, and that was just happenstance. It was just a happenstance. I never actually saw that one. Maybe I'll watch it one day. But by happenstance, I just happened to never see that particular movie. Okay. So I'm going to say this, y'all. Was the Oscars good? Because I haven't really tried to watch it in years. Was the Oscars good? It was all right. It was all right. Okay. Not as stiff-necked as I thought it was gonna be, or you know, some of the little jokes and things they were making, they was all right. They was all right, you know. But it was a decent experience. It was a decent experience. Now, I couldn't do it uninterruptedly. I wanted to. I really planned on just sitting down and watching the Oscars with nothing else going on. But no, my life just didn't go that way. It didn't work with me. So I had a lot to get done while I was watching the Oscars. But I think it was pretty good overall. And because of how certain things went, I'm not necessarily mad at who won and who didn't. Like I say, I know Sinners wasn't gonna win. They nominated too many films. Once they got past like 5, I was just like, whoa, y'all still nominate more films, And I knew at that point Sinners just wasn't gonna do it. Okay. Now, was it the best movie of 2026? Of course, that's something that's subjective. I'm definitely gonna say, okay. Well, I think One Battle After Another won. I think that's the one that won. I mean, I'm gonna double check that one. Check that one. Okay, but that was a decent film because I did see that one. That was a pretty decent film. Am I mad that it won versus Sinners? Not necessarily, because I had my suspicions Sinners was never gonna win in the first place. I had my if we're gonna be perfectly honest, okay, if we perfectly honest, I never really thought for a second that Sinners was gonna win. Okay, all right. It just is. It just is what it is. Okay, I saw Sinners. I thought, okay, this was a really, really great movie. All right, and will they actually show us some love at the Oscars? And I was like, yeah, they'll show us some love, But is it gonna win Best Film? Not a chance. Not really. Okay. Not really gonna win. Okay. So I can't say I was disappointed because I never believed it was gonna win in the first place. Now, I'm not gonna say that as in I didn't believe it was a great film. I'm not gonna say that as in I didn't believe in the cast. I thought the cast was actually fantastic. I think this was a great movie that even white folks could get behind because of the cast. It wasn't just like a total black film. Okay, it wasn't just like a total black film. You had some white folks in there. You had some Asians in there. Okay, multiculturally we could get behind this particular film. Okay, we had some black folks in there. And the story it was telling, the time period that it used, a lot of great things was in this particular film. But winning an Oscar says a whole lot about a film, okay? Because films have won that were I'm gonna say they come off as boring sometimes. They were great quote unquote art pieces and things like that. And I used to be wondering, like, who is judging this stuff? The Oscars at a point had me thinking, like, who is making these decisions on who's judging this stuff? Now, I get it, y'all. And the Oscar does a great job of talking about things that we don't necessarily think about as an audience, but these things are extremely important to a movie. Editing, who edits the movie, how they edit the movie. This stuff is a very, very important thing, and this is very important when it comes to storytelling. Handling the lighting, very important things when it comes to storytelling. Okay. A shout out to my main man Shark. He said Frankenstein should have won. I hadn't seen that film, so I can't say if it should have won or not. It seemed interesting based on the little clips that they were showing. So it did seem interesting, but I'm not gonna say whether it was Oscar worthy or not because I didn't personally see it. But they do honor a lot of things in film that we don't necessarily think about as the audience member, because we're looking at the completed package. But all these different things do have a lot to do with how a film comes across. Okay, the score of a film, where they place the music in the film. Okay, all these things are very, very highly important. All right, so I appreciated sitting down and looking at some of these things that were honored, because again, y'all, I hadn't watched the Oscars in a long time, because in the past we just didn't seem to come to an agreement on what films should or should not have been honored. So I'm gonna say this was nice to see it getting to a lot closer to things I can agree with. So it was nice. It was a good way for me to see this. Which I don't know how many years have passed since I actually tried to watch the Academy Awards. It's been a lot of years though, y'all. It's been a lot of years. So I think they did a pretty decent job. Shout out to Afro Merch. I'm gonna say this real quick, then I give it to Black Uru. He said Frankenstein was decent. I don't understand the hype of F1. Now I'm gonna say I saw F1, bro. That was a pretty good film. It was a pretty good film, even though you had the white hero for real. But I think the way that particular film was made, when they told that story, I think that was a good film. I think it was about the purity of racing. When you really think about the purity of racing. All right. And shout out real quick to Shark. He said, I don't know how you ain't see that talking about Frankenstein. Don't you do movie reviews, Roger? Hey man, a man can't be in all places at all times. A man just cannot be in all places at all times. And I just happened to miss that one. But I'm gonna give the mic to my main man. Black Uru is in the building. So Black Uru, shout out to you, my brother. Go ahead and start wherever you like in this particular great day after a great Academy Awards. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, Roger, to have a hope you do well. The folks in the chat are well. I did see Frankenstein. I don't know if I do think it's a great film. I do think it was a portrayal. It was a rather humanistic portrayal.
Black Room, my apologies, brother. I don't know what's going on, but you sound very choppy, brother. You sound very choppy. You got something going on, Black Room.
Okay, well, let me see if I can make it. I'll drop down, hopefully better.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. He said he'll drop down and come back up. He gonna try to do something with it. But yeah, it as y'all heard, we that wasn't the best of Black Uru. We just say like that. It wasn't the best. All right, now I'm gonna say this, y'all. At least in this particular time, I saw some films, of the nominations that deserve some respect. I hadn't seen all the films that were up for best Oscar, but at least I could understand at least some of the films that they had up for best Oscar. Okay, now I just looked it up real quick. It says the other top best picture nominees included Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Train Dreams. Okay, so I haven't seen all these particular films. I'm gonna say Marty Supreme. I don't know about that one. I saw that one. Was that an Oscar-worthy film? I mean, the film was good. Oscar-worthy? I don't know. It was a good film, but Oscar, I mean, it was all right. I ain't gonna even say it was all right. Okay, I actually reviewed that film, so I don't know if it's at Oscar level, but hey, it is subjective. All right, we got Black Uru back, so let's see if he can have a better showing of this particular time. So you got it again, Black Rule. You got it again.
How do I sound now? Is that better?
Okay, now you sound great. Yeah, now that's the Black Rule we know and love. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Frankenstein. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a rather humanistic presentation of Frankenstein. I came away from seeing the film, as much as anything, I came away from the film feeling very sad about Frankenstein. It was, I think it was the first time I'd seen a Frankenstein film where I actually imagined what would it actually be like to become reanimated. But to have real human quality. I mean, I think that was the purpose of when Mary Shelley amazingly wrote the book when she was 19 years old. But that was probably the first Frankenstein film I came away where I really earnestly felt for Frankenstein himself. I thought it was a great film. I don't know if it should have won Best Picture. I didn't see enough of the other films to be able to adequately prepare. And obviously, I had a bias for Sinners. I thought Sinners was a great film. I thought it was a great sort of cultural moment and message to convey about the authenticity of Black culture, Black art, and to a large extent, even Black people. I myself, being from the Mississippi Delta, the films were born in the Mississippi Delta. Both sides of my family are from that area. It was very familiar watching. I had a lot of emotional moments, I guess, watching Sinners. Because even though the film featured the 1930s, I believe, when I was a kid, it's changed quite a bit today. But when I was a child, much of late 60s, early 70s looked a lot like what was featured in a film based on the 30s. So as I watched the film, it was a lot of reminiscing, and it was kind of an emotional experience for me. So I was especially rooting for Sinners. I was disappointed that Coogler did not win either Best Director or Best Film. I thought certainly if he would have won one of those, you know. So I think the fact that they gave both, I guess, Best Director and Best Film to what's his name, Harris, I guess, the guy who produced and directed what's that, One Bad Day After Another or whatever.
One Bad After Another.
I thought it was I thought it was interesting that they gave him both director and best film. I'd be curious. I didn't see the film. My daughter saw the film. She was not impressed by it to that degree, and was disappointed that it beat out Sinners. But I'm curious, Roger. Do you think that film was good enough to win both the best director and best film?
Honestly, I think director, I can live with them. I can live with it being best director. Best film, I just don't think it was there. And that's not even me really being biased. I just don't think it was there for best film. I can see best director though, because they did a lot of interesting things in that particular film. So I can totally understand that. But best director and best, it just was not on the level that Sinners was. Sinners just had much more to work with than One Battle After Another did. You know, and that's my honest opinion. You know, Sinners had a lot more to work with.
Yeah, look, I didn't see all the movies, and again, admittedly, I was biased. I'm just surprised that I shouldn't. I'm not surprised. I'd only be surprised if I actually expected this to be a fair and unbiased situation, which of course is not. So, but I was disappointed that they did not do the right thing, and they made some interesting. Well, I'll let the other gentleman talk. I have some other views about the
But but before they get in, I'm
selection.
just gonna say, and shout out to Gilgamy for sharing the link and just please do it throughout the show. Thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna say, y'all, when I saw Sinners, I wasn't thinking about the Oscars. But when someone first mentioned the Oscars to me, I said that movie was too good to get an Oscar. That was my honest response to Sinners, y'all. The movie is too good to get an Oscar. And that's why, well, last night the truth came out on that one. It was too good to get an Oscar. Because if
You mean it was too good of a black film for them to give it an Oscar? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Way too much black
Okay.
involvement for it to receive an Oscar. I say it like that.
Yeah.
Way too much black involvement for it to actually receive an Oscar because the movie was that good. But let me let these other guys get in. But that's exactly what I mean. So shout out to Mama Jordan Creep. You got the flow, my brother.
Shout out to you, Roger. Shout out to the gentleman on the panel. Guys, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Before I start, I'm just gonna apologize because I'm gonna say a lot of out-of-pocket things today. And so I'm just gonna say up front, I apologize for any offensive comments that I made. Yeah, I'm just gonna apologize. So the first thing is that you see the two gentlemen in the picture. One is Michael B. Jordan, and the other brother, who don't look like his brother, is his brother. So I think we got a pandemic on our hands. Of that might need to be another pandemic because that 30-40% is real. So that's my first apology. So second, shout out to Timothy Chalamet. You got robbed, nigga. You got robbed. Welcome to the back of the bus, though. But that girl with you, she was bad. She was bad. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. Him being best actor is a bit of a stretch. I thought other people were better actors than him. And Sinners definitely should not have won Best Picture. Ryan Coogler, for me, after Black Panther 2, he's just kind of been in the doghouse. I don't think we should be supporting, simp lords like him. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think this was, we're just gonna put a bunch of black people in a horror film and count on white guilt to win something. Because let's be honest, horror films don't really win Oscars, right? It don't really, because I mean, if we talk about some of the greatest horror films, Halloween has never won an Oscar, which is one of the greatest horror films of all time. To me, The Lost Boys, the greatest vampire movie ever produced, hasn't won anything. So, to me, this was, let's do a Black Panther versus Dracula or some shit. And let's put in a little bit of caught in the slave. So, stereotypical stuff. So, I mean, shout out to the brothers. I really do like that they work together. They're a tandem, right? You have a team together. Like, okay, this director comes with a top-rated actor, and we'll just do movies together over and over, right? Like a team, which is smart, great for business. But when we talk about Oscars and stuff like that, I just thought that other people are more deserving, and one battle after another was definitely better than Sinners. I think Sinners was probably one of the absolute worst vampire movies of all time. I pass it by. White guilt, baby, white guilt.
I would say shout out to you, brother. You if anybody believe we got people here pulling strings, y'all. This is the show you come up and get your honest opinion. Real talk. You can always tell them how you really see it at the Rise Report Live. And as you can see, that happens, okay? That definitely happens.
Because I just want to say one thing. Because if anybody on there that deserved any Oscar should have been Leonard Delroy. He was the best actor in that spot. Then the Chinese woman was second best.
Okay. All right, let's give it to Creator. Creator, you got it, my brother.
Brother. First off, what's happening? What's happening, Roger? I ain't hollered at my mans in a minute.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man.
Back
Real
at
talk.
you, man. Back at you. Hey, Mama, tell us how you really feel. Hey, I respect your honesty. I do. I will agree with the Asian actor or actress was good, and I would agree with Lindau as well. I think he did his thing, but I don't think none of them touch Michael B. Jordan to play two roles, and the dynamics of both of those roles. And I think somebody put it best is it was seamless. I noticed not that these were, I almost looked at him like these was two different people. So when I never got to see the movie, right? I was really off of it because I was like, I didn't even want to see it. I'm like, this is gonna be some crap. But my wife came back and my sons and everybody like, man, you gotta see. It's like, you have to see this movie, right? Because I'm picky about a movie, especially, Dracula type, vampire, I ain't into that. But man, I watched this movie and I think it was beyond the fact that it was a horror movie. Almost to the fact of where he almost had to make it a horror movie in order to make it palatable to certain people in my kind of me watching it. Because after I watched it, was really artsy. It was a really artsy film. I think they dug deep. I think the directing was excellent. I think the acting was excellent. I think the historical content in the movie, to Black Huru's point, where it kind of touched him going back into the days of prohibition and dealing with certain ways of life back then, but even highlighted the white folk that were not coming through, and they weren't like, they didn't really show rich people to a degree. They were showing people and how they survived and how they really took care of themselves back in the day. This was everybody and kind of how it was. So, the highlight had to be Michael B. Jordan and his characters or whatnot. But I think they did a great job at just displaying and giving credit, not just to the black actors. And this is like a quote unquote a black film, but I think they highlighted the Irish heritage with that, with the white folk, and they did the dance and, had the song or whatnot. I just think it was a really good movie. Just a really great acted, a really great entertaining movie. And to put the Dracula or the vampire spin on it was just like a modern day Lime, if you will. So I'm gonna say good job, kudos. I think they both deserve what they got. Of course, they're not getting ready to give them best film. Chalamet, that was a setup. Roger, you said something about, and I'm gonna get off of here real quick, but you was mentioning how it was a lot of nominees at this point, but they had to justify. That's what had to justify the win, right? And then lastly, these are your peers. So your peers kind of got to vote you in, even though they're judges that will ultimately make the decision. But your peers said, hey, you know what? These guys deserve this. So the writers, right, said that he deserved this. And then the actors of Michael B. Jordan said that he deserved it. So, kudos. Fair is fair.
All right. I'm going to say shout out to No Placeholder. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. He says, what about Tom Cruise's interview with the vampire? I'm going to say I did see that film back in the day. And, he makes some interesting statements about horror movies not necessarily winning Oscars. And I'm not going to say that that's wrong because, like I said, over back in the day, I was like, I don't know what the Oscars is doing with who's winning versus the movies that's coming out. I didn't really get where they was going. I think this year, seeing who they nominated, I feel much more comfortable about what they're doing nowadays. I'll just say that. Interview with a Vampire. I mean, I don't remember if that won an Oscar, but
it didn't win an Oscar. It didn't. It won it didn't win an Oscar. It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for same thing, design, same thing that when Ryan Coogler won for, screenplay and design and stuff like that. It didn't win. It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. Horror movies are not really the Oscars thing.
And I'm gonna say, to me, I'm gonna give the Oscars some credit since I've been away from it for so long, and I'll come back to it. I'm gonna give them some credit for changing up what's going on with them and understanding that great work is just great work. And we should not only give a film an Oscar if it's the thing that we want, but we got to look at it on the real. Just was it good or not?
If I may, because I saw these films from the perspective of an adult, and so I don't view Sinners to be a vampire film at all. I view it to be a cultural film and a musical film that included a horror aspect. But if you look at that whole film, I mean, you think about the vampires, obviously you can't miss the vampires, but they're not really, from my perspective, the important part of that film. Now, when you contrast it with, let's say, Interview of the Vampire, you don't have a movie. The whole thing is about vampires and whatever. I mean, it's not; those aren't comparable things to my, But Sinners was about the blues, man. Sinners was about cotton and Mississippi and racism and the Klan. That's what Sinners was about. I mean, it wasn't. That wasn't the overriding thing that hovered over the film, the vampires. It wasn't like from beginning to end a vampire film. It was about brothers, and it was about brothers and cousins, and it was about passing. It was a whole lot of stuff there. It was about look, let me tell y'all something. When I was a child and I would visit Mississippi Delta, there was a train track that ran through the town that my family lived in. On one side, the black folks could shop on. The other side, white folks, the white shops, the mansions were on the other side. We could not go over there. This was real. This wasn't some shit that was in the movie. And guess who owned and operated the stores we could shop in? Y'all tell me what they were.
So listen,
white folks.
They were Asians. They were Asians. They were Asians. The only people who owned shops that black folks could shop in 1971 America in the Mississippi Delta was Asian. That wasn't a film about vampires. That was a film about history, about black history in particular in the South. That was a real ass movie, man.
Before you respond, I'm gonna let you respond, but after you, I'm gonna say one quick thing. Then I got these other new brothers that got to get in. I'm gonna let you respond. Though, go ahead.
Well, if we're taking a vampire aspect out of it, and we're saying this is about Black history, my cat could write a better movie than that. And it was absolutely piss poor. I passed the mic.
Now, wow. Now I'm gonna say this real quick, y'all, because I didn't know about the whole vampire thing going into the film. The movie was good before a vampire was even mentioned. I'm gonna say that before they even got to the point of a vampire being mentioned, it was just a good movie. So for me, it was a good movie that vampires happened to be in. But Sims, wait a minute, hold on. Let me, okay, yes. Sims, you got the flow. Then we get Black Game.
One second, Roger. 1 second. I just want to say one other thing, and I wanted to say something to Creator. you can look at the picture on my avatar. If his mom was a little bit more faithful, then his brother could have been in that movie, his real one. Now I pass the mic.
Brother, this ain't got nothing to do with movie making. I'm just saying. This ain't got nothing to do with the Oscars. Sims, you got the flow, bro.
Yeah, what's up, fellas? How you doing?
I think most of us okay. Okay.
Yeah. It shouldn't have won best movie of the year. I feel what Ulu was saying, but I guess he's being sentimental. And when you make a movie, like when we judging these movies,
Speak up just a little bit, Sharky, or move the mic again, because you sounded loud and clear for a hot second and it went away.
Yeah, I was saying,
there you go.
A little sentimental with everything. Like Hasso said, his cat could have wrote a better script if you taking the vampire aspect out of it. I definitely would have been mad if he didn't get like the best screenplay and like the visual thing. I definitely would have been upset on that one, but I don't think that was Oscar worthy of winning best film of the year. If you take the vampire thing out, it's just a regular black slave and all of that type of movie, and we didn't see billions and billions of those already. So what was going to be innovative about it, like what was pushing the needle that you was going to get that award? I think the only reason why that other one won with Tiana Taylor and your boy
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, she just did the Bedwinch thing, and that's why I won. You know, they always going to push a narrative or push a message through. So that was just telling them with the black chicks, yeah, y'all can start Bedwinching and shit. But Sinners, it was dope to watch, but it wasn't mind bending. You know what I mean? It wasn't. No, it wasn't that. That movie Begonia was tougher than Sinners. Frankenstein tougher than Sinners, and it was visually up there with Sinners, but I think Sinners was a little bit iller. And that's why I'll leave it right there. I don't want to take up too much time for Black Gamer.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Bad Black Gamer, you got it, brother.
Hey, good morning, fam. Salutes to you, Roger, and salutes to the panel. Hope you're having a happy Monday. Black Rule kind of stole my thunder a little bit when I was going to call up. You kind of sick right before I, called up. You kind of pretty much said, well, I was kind of going with it too. Basically, I look at that movie like this. Basically, you got two brothers trying to Black Wall Street thing going, and some folks show up to fuck it up. Like, take out vampire stuff. I mean, they made them vampires, but as we know, these could have been any group of white folks just showing up to mess up, what the Black people got going on their side of the street. So that's kind of how I view it. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a great vampire movie. I mean, if you think about like Interview with a Vampire, that was based off of Anne Rice books, and she basically kind of, her and Bram Stoker, they kind of created what we know today as the modern vampire and Dracula genre. So this wasn't a vampire movie. It was just kind of like they just like some white folks show up to mess some stuff up, and they kind of just made them vampires to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Just, for, I guess, from a art, looking at it artistically point of view. I don't know if it deserved the Oscar, but I do think it deserved the Oscar for kind of thinking outside of the box, with the way they did it, because it was kind of more of a musical too, and I think that kind of got glossed over just because it was just a pretty good movie that you didn't realize that you kind of watching a musical or a play on film. So, but yeah, I'll land my plane right there, fellas.
All right, and we got one more person who has joined us, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him get the mic. Niggas versus Vampires is here. You got the mic, brother. Go ahead.
All right. Happy Monday to everybody.
Happy Monday, brother.
I swear I'm not off my rockers today. All right. You know what? Many of you say you watch Sinners. I disagree a little bit. For me, Sinners is an experience. When I'm watching Sinners, it gives me a sense of immersion that many movies cannot give me. Okay, it feels like I would like to be part of whatever they got going on. Even though, I would have chosen to be a vampire instead. Because, hey, if you're living during this time, you're being treated like a nigga. What's wrong with being a vampire? I don't feel wrong. You're gonna miss out on a couple of sunshine, but that's okay, you'll be alright. So for me, Sinners is the best, the greatest vampire movie that is not even about vampires. Thank you.
All right. Now, let me say this, y'all. We got to take into account that the Oscars is a once a year thing. You just got to be better than the other films that year to be quote unquote Oscar worthy. It's not about you going against the history of Hollywood. It's about you being better than the other films that came out that year. So, as you compare it to something like an Interviews with a Vampire, which I don't remember what year that came out, but that movie had to beat the films of that year. Now, I'm going to say the Oscars did seem in the past to me a little bit biased against more popular films. Because I maybe they wanted to push more of an art narrative that maybe they were too highbrow for people in the past, or maybe that's how I took it. But they did some stuff that I just didn't agree with. But I think a good movie is a good movie, period. And a good movie is going to include certain things, and it's going to make you feel some type of way. And I do agree that you're supposed to be able to immerse yourself in the world that you're watching for that, 1.5, 2, 3 hours or whatever is going on. So I'm going to say I do honestly believe Sinners was a great film. I do understand that. One battle after another, which took home Best Picture. I cannot say that was a bad movie. To me, it was a movie of I would expect more of to win. And I'm gonna say that because yes, there was a leading white man, Leonardo DiCaprio, who did actually a fantastic job as Leonardo DiCaprio does. You had I don't know why am I drawing blank on the black woman's name right now.
Tiana
Taylor, which I actually think she did a great job in that film. I think she did do a great job. But when you have a black woman with the white man as a lead, and then there was a story between Leonardo's character and the character that played his daughter, the young lady that played his daughter. I think they had stuff in there that I could understand why that movie would get Best Film. Now I could say the same thing about Sinners. I saw enough of what was in Sinners for it to get Best Film. I just thought it was just way too black and bald for them to actually give it to them. And that's the straight. And again, you got to beat the movie that came out that year. It's not about beating Hollywood history. I just got to beat the people that came out this. It's like that joke about, do you have to be faster than a lion? No, you don't have to be faster than a lion. You just got to be faster than other people running from the lion. That's all.
I hear you, Roger.
But to emphasize the point, Roger, the films that were nominated for Best Picture in 1995 were The Shawshank Redemption, Quiz Show, Pulp Fiction, Four Weddings and a Funeral, and the winner was Forrest Gump. Interview with a Vampire was not beating Forrest Gump.
But we're not talking about that. When we're talking, I don't know why he made that comment. But what I'm saying is,
you're the one brought up Interviews with a Vampire.
No, there's somebody super chat Interview with a Vampire. He brought it up.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
Right, because I said horror movies don't really make the Oscars like that. They don't win Oscars like that, right? If you look at all the horror movies, majority are not nominated for Oscars. Then he posted that super chat. What I'm saying to you,
you brought up the Lost Boys. My bad.
Right. But what I'm saying is that there were better pictures. Like I thought, one battle after another was better. And I thought a couple other films were better than Sinners that I saw that should have won Best Picture. I don't think, because the thing about it is, like, I don't know why we as black people be doing shit like this. Well, if you take out the vampire point, well, the whole point is the vampire point, because the vampire was connected everyone, right? And that's what he wanted Sammy, is to connect everyone, to bring the evil to the world. So, like, you know what I mean? So you can't have that movie without the vampires.
I
I'm going.
disagree. We could have that movie, and the KKK could have showed
Well,
up
look,
and stir up
I'm not
drama.
going to argue that it would be the same film without the vampires. Well, first of all, I don't accept this argument that just because it's a horror film that it can't be a great film. I don't accept that argument. You know, you could have a superior vampire film or a superior Frankenstein was also nominated. I saw Frankenstein. I thought it was a wonderful film.
I
I
never
would
said
not have been entirely I would not have been entirely shocked if Frankenstein won Best Picture. I thought it was a fantastically made film. I thought it was a memorable movie. Like I said, I thought it conveyed a message about what that story means in a way and with an emotional depth that I'd never before experienced on the subject of Frankenstein. I thought it was a wonderful film. You know, I thought what's his name portrayal in the 1992 Dracula. What's his name? The great Irish English actor.
Anyway,
Fantastic.
I never
Definitely was
said,
was
I
an
never.
Oscar was an Oscar worthy performance in my view.
So first of all, let me clarify something. I said that horror films are normally not nominated for Oscars. I never said horror films are not good movies. I just said they're not normally nominated for Oscars. That is it. Because there's a
I
lot of
mean that's fine.
there's a lot of
That
amazing
don't necessarily mean
horror
that's a valid.
a lot of amazing horror movies that should have been. For example, the first Halloween, the first Michael Myers Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis should have absolutely won an Oscar. That was pure masterpiece. Pure fucking masterpiece.
Well, I'm gonna say you still gotta look at what came out that day, because now that Black Rule went and took a look back, I can't say Interview with a Vampire was better than the Shawshank Redemption. I'm not saying horror movies.
That's no placeholder. He brought that up.
I'm just using it as an example. You can do great film, and I think that's where I honestly believe this is where the Academy Awards has seemed to improve to me, because to me it seemed like
I saw every one of the films that that were nominated in 1995. Forrest Gump, I saw Full Weddings and Funeral, I saw Pulp Fiction, I saw Quiz Show, I saw Shawshank Redemption. If I had a pick in 95, I'm picking Shawshank Redemption. I'm not picking Forrest Gump. I wasn't the biggest fan of Forrest Gump. I found it to be rather gimmicky. But I understand why it won Best Picture, maybe over Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Well, my point though, let me say this. What I'm getting at is the fact that maybe that's where the Oscars has improved. It seemed to me in the past they were somewhat biased against more popular films, and I'm saying a film should just be looked at as how great that film is, whether it's popular or not. Because if it's an award about best lighting, what movie actually did the best lighting, whether it was popular or not? If it's about a best actor, who did the best acting job, whether it was popular or not? Give people their proper shine. So to me, that's what I didn't seem to quite like about the Academy Awards in yesteryear. And that's why I believe when I sat down, when I looked at it this year, I found it far better than what it used to be to me. I'll say that. It was far better than what it used to be to me. And I'm going to say Sinners was just an overall good movie, so I could totally understand it winning an Oscar. I think it was a great movie. But I don't have to argue about the one they gave it to, one battle after another, because it wasn't a piece of trash that I could just say that. No, it was a good movie. So now it is a little bit more about, somebody's subjective viewpoint versus somebody just getting robbed. And I can appreciate that way better.
Well, I think.
So let me ask you a question.
Leonardo DiCaprio kind of got robbed because I think he's a better actor than Michael B. Jordan too. But what I'm saying is this: in 1978, you cannot tell me there was a better movie than Halloween, and in 2000, you cannot tell me there were better movies than The Matrix. Matrix 1. You cannot tell me that in those 2 years there was better movies than produced in those two. But the Oscars back then didn't really look at those types of movies. So I will give Sinners this credit that they helped to expand the Oscars palette by having this type of movie be nominated, because this type of movie normally is not nominated. So I will give them that. I will definitely give them that because, like you said, the palette has changed. But in general, these types of movies aren't really looked at the Oscars. But I would say back to the topic at hand, when we're talking about, because I don't think Michael B. Jordan is that great of an actor. He's okay, but I don't think he's that great of an actor.
So you think Halloween was better than Kramer versus Kramer, which won the Oscar?
Yes.
All that jazz.
Yes, absolutely.
And you think it was better than Apocalypse Now?
And
if you think that movie was better than Apocalypse Now, you are out of your mind.
And Superman
you
came
are
out
out of your mind. Halloween was not better than Apocalypse Now.
Yes, it was.
Apocalypse Now is one of the greatest films to be made in the last 45 years.
Back you up on that one.
No way Halloween was better than Apocalypse Now.
Because the best one is Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket is the best.
No way Halloween was better than Apocalypse Now. Just stop
it. Halloween was better than Apocalypse Now.
Nobody is going to argue that Halloween was better than Apocalypse Now.
Well,
nobody's going to make that argument.
I am right now. I am.
Well, I'm just gonna throw out there. Superman came out in '78. I'm just gonna throw that out there because that was a beloved film for me.
I think Superman missed the cutoff time or something. I don't know. I don't think.
No, Halloween came out in '79.
Well,
Halloween.
Well, I'm gonna say
Superman came out in '78.
Yeah. Well, I heard y'all mention '78. Well, I think that's what made the Oscars better. I think they're improving because, again, what I saw this year being nominated for films, movies that I can agree with, at least the ones I saw were pretty good movies. I'm not sitting there. I don't have no issue with one battle after another winning. It wasn't the one I would have chose, but I think it's a respectable movie to be the winner. It's definitely a respectable movie to be the winner. Was it better than Sinners to me? No. Sinners had more to work with, and I'm gonna say you may think Leonardo DiCaprio is a better actor, which is fine from an overall opinion. It's about how was the acting in this particular year? Leonardo DiCaprio did a fantastic job in one battle after another. I'm gonna give that man his proper credit. But Michael B. Jordan played two roles in this movie. And you know how it is. Black men got to do twice as much and expect, twice the work and expect half as much. They did the right thing because the man played two great roles in a fantastic movie. And of course, he played both roles great. So how do you not give it to him?
So I wanna say some rest of my case. So first of all, see, we're putting up alternative facts. Halloween came out in 1978. Apocalypse Now came out in 1979, right? I'm looking at it right now. 1979, Apocalypse Now. Halloween, the first one, 1978 with Jamie Lee Curtis. So there we go. So yes, in 1978, Michael Myers would stab the shit out of Superman.
Okay, don't you think that just because it's a horror film that it should not be excluded from being.
I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give films their proper due, regardless of what genre they in. Which I'm thinking the Academy Awards seem to be doing a much better job of that. You know what I'm saying? Because other stuff I've seen in the past, I was like, what is these white people thinking? And that's how I said it. What is these white people thinking? They're not even making sense. So I stopped watching. So I'm glad I got brought back to it. Shout out to the people who brought me back. Okay. But you know, you gotta give people a shot.
The film that won the best picture in 1979 was The Deer Hunter.
Was that with
I think it's very unlikely that Halloween will film with John Voight and Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep. I doubt very seriously that Halloween is gonna do better than The Deer Hunter.
But we're 78. You talking about 79? I don't know what we're talking about 79. It happened in 78.
No, this is the year before. The Deer Hunter got the best picture in 1979, which would have been for films that were released in 1978.
Yeah, and again, you just got to be the best in the year that your film comes up. So again, I can respect the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. Leo is a great actor. He been doing it for a long time, been in a lot of great films. I remember Leo way back in the Growing Pain days when he was just a part of their cast. Wasn't even a star of the show. He was just a part of the Growing Pains. Okay. The man does good work, but I can't look at the way he did in this particular film and say he outdid Michael B. Jordan in two excellent roles that he played. To me, it just don't even make sense.
I would say he did. I would say in The Battle After Next, I would say he did a better job than Michael B. Jordan did.
You see how you just did that? The Battle After Next. It wasn't even good enough for you to even know the film's names. One battle after another.
One battle after another. You know what I mean, man. You know what I mean.
No, I think that just shows that Leo didn't do as good a job.
I'm just looking at this because Uber got me fucked up with this Halloween shit. So I'm looking online as I'm talking to you. So.
Well, I will say you know, as long as you're agreeing with me that if they're giving every film a chance, it's just better overall.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now I don't know about all them nominees. I mean, five people got nominated for best actor, so I expected 5 films to get nominated for best movie. They nominated 8 movies. I was like, that's a little too much. But when you nominate 8 films, I already knew Sinners wasn't going to win. Not that I ever expected them to. Okay, but that was a confirmation that Sinners was not going to win. Once they went past the 5th film, I was like, okay, what? Sinners out the door, you know. But I do think it was a good enough movie where it should have won. You know, that was the best movie that came out that year that I saw. I don't say that. That's the best movie that came out that year that I saw.
Okay. What's so great about One Battle After Another? This movie. What is so great about it? Because I watched it once and I fell asleep.
The thing was they were doing a film. You had basically like a revolutionary type of thing going on in the particular film. You know what I'm saying? So there's things about that film that you could say was putting a real story out there. And like I said, the dynamic with Leonardo DiCaprio's character and his daughter's character, the escaping the man, you know what I'm saying, the government coming after them. There was stuff going on in that film that you can really say gives it reason for it to win that Oscar. You know, it was not a bad movie at all.
I don't know about that one. I'm gonna sit this one out because I watched it once, I fell asleep, and I never watched it again.
You fell asleep because you was tired. That's what happened on that one. You fell asleep because you was tired.
Well, guess what? I watched Sinners 4 times. I never fell asleep.
Well, so now what was good about One Battle After Another or whatever?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking them. What was so good about this movie?
Well, it was like a story about basically kind of like a revolution story, and Leonardo DiCaprio's
No,
character.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you about what the story was about. I'm asking you why was this such a great film?
Well, I'm thinking, to me, the whole thing about him trying to escape the man because the government was coming after him. You know what I'm saying? Him trying to escape and save his daughter and the conflicts that he was running into along the way of trying to make sure his daughter
You,
wasn't
you,
found
you're,
out.
you're describing to me the story. I'm asking
What do
you
you want to
what
hear?
was great about the film. No. Let Roger. Do you understand what the distinction I'm making, Roger?
I'm definitely trying to. I believe what made the story.
You're describing me to the story. You can describe to me any story about any film. That doesn't necessarily says anything about why the film itself was great. You could describe to me what you saw on the cartoon. That's not telling me why you love the cartoon.
I get you. I get you. I'm gonna
Man,
say. I'm gonna say.
Sinners was a great. To me, Sinners was a great film because it was a very earnest depiction of black life at that time and that point in the country. It was a great presentation of black music and culture. Even the whole vampire aspect of it was metaphorical. The vampire, it was not about vampire. It was about stealing black talent and stealing black genius. And the vampire was an exaggerated analogy of that. That's why he wanted Sammy. He didn't want all the niggas. He wanted Sammy because he knew if he can get Sammy, he can get everybody. And y'all totally missed that point of the story. It wasn't just about a vampire just eating on everybody just to survive. It was like, no, I'm going to take over everybody if I get that one supernatural Negro right there. And y'all
So-
totally missed that part of the story.
No, we got it, but like Shark Sim says, we saw that that is a dime a dozen. We saw that time and time again. You know what? If we want to keep it raw, if we want to keep it really raw, Jurassic Park is better than Sinners, brother. And Jurassic Park came out in 2025. And there are two movies that absolutely were. I don't even know why they weren't nominated. The first movie was Weapons. That was an amazing movie. The first movie was
Weapons should have been nominated because Weapons was terrific, man.
Yeah, Weapons should have been nominated. And what's the other joint? Yeah, Weapons should have been nominated. I cannot know. I have no idea. Oh, The Lost Bus. The Lost Bus. Those two were fantastic movies. Fantastic movies.
Okay, now I'm gonna say that when it came to one battle after another, number one, you did have a lot of great acting in this particular film. The story that was being conveyed about a man trying to have some form of reconnection with his daughter. It had a compelling story of the daughter actually realizing who she was based on who her parents was and what they had done in the past. It had a great storyline in that particular film. And and to me, storylines is gonna help a whole lot. So that's why I say that I can accept it being the one that won. It wasn't really in this.
How long was Tiana Taylor in that film?
I mean, she was in. I don't know. She wasn't in the majority of the movie.
Yeah, she wasn't. She wasn't in the majority of the movie. But the one thing, if we really, you know what, you see, this is Snoop Dogg was right. We are addicted to slave movies because if we really want to talk about the conditions of
there
the
were no
black
slaves in the cinemas.
no, but hold on. But it still gave that slave feel, right? Cotton picking feel. The point is this, right? If we want to talk about if we really want to talk about the black men experience and shit like that, then why are we not talking about him with Marlon Wayans, Selling Your Soul, for fame, fortune, and all that? Why are we not talking about that? Because that was a way more time appropriate movie.
What movie are you referring to?
Marlon Wayans.
Well, I don't. First of all, I don't know. I mean, cotton picking is a part of the history of our people.
No doubt about that.
Some of the greatest people who ever lived picked cotton, or came from people who picked cotton. Came from people who from Mississippi. The Mississippi American music, which Sammy represented. American popular music came out of that same part of the country, the Mississippi Delta. Blues music, rock music, hip hop, soul, R&B, all of that came out of the Mississippi Delta. That came from Sammy. Sammy represented the origins of that music.
Listen,
that was the point of that. That was the message that was being conveyed. If you guys focusing on the vampire, you guys missed the whole point of that movie. You missed the whole point of that movie.
What we're saying to you, Black Crew, is that we're tired of it. Everybody on this panel, I believe, comes from the sharecropping. My great grandmother was born in slavery. We're all come from that heritage and culture. We all appreciate it. That is who we are as a people. We come from. Everybody on the panel is that.
Wait a minute. Most of those movies that were nominated were period films about white people in the 1600s or the 1500s or the 1800s or whatever. White people get to make films about being poor in Amsterdam or in Scotland or Israel or whatever, and they're celebrated. Black people cannot celebrate their history. They cannot commemorate their history. They can't commemorate their struggle. It's this slave thing.
Not one person up here has said that. Not one person up here said that. What we're saying is that we would like to see.
No, you're the one that's saying it. You're the one. I'm not blaming it on anybody else. You're the one who's saying it. You're the one who's saying it.
I said we would like to see something else.
You said we're tired of it. You said we're tired of the cotton picking and we're tired of the slaves. You mentioned the slaves, and there were no damn slaves in Center.
Okay,
you're just making shit up. Did you even see the movie? Did you even see the movie? Because you just pulling shit out of your ass.
Listen. I'm sorry, and I appreciate. This is where you get to shine because you can tell those old time pappy stories where everybody up here is 40 plus. We don't need bedtime stories.
And I love those old time happy stories. I love being black. I love being born in the Mississippi Delta. They're my people. What are you talking about, nigga?
I'm talking about your old ass. We're the new era.
Well, hold on. The thing is,
that wheelchair suit and go somewhere.
Well, hold on. The thing is, we are talking about the Oscars. The Oscars is about films made from one particular date to another particular date. Okay, all the films throughout history don't count for that particular year. Out of the films that came out during the time that they had to be ranked to be in the 2026 Oscar winning situation, at the end of the day, Sinners was one of the better movies that came out that year. Just is what it is. I didn't say it with all the films that were nominated. I didn't see every particular film that got nominated, but Sinners was one of the better movies that came out this year.
Rod, why did you think Sinners was better than one bad thing or whatever after the other? Did you think Sinners was better?
Yeah, I do believe Sinners was better.
Why did you think it? Why did you think it was better?
Because it was more compelling than one battle after another.
No, that's some bullshit.
No, it wasn't.
Why was
I do think it was a much more compelling story than one battle. I think one battle after was a good story, but it was more compelling. What'd you say, Black Room?
I mean, I'm honestly, I didn't see the film, but I'm kind of. I mean, you got these white guys running around in the Revolution. You got Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro, and you got Sean Penn, who didn't even won Oscar, didn't even show up to the ceremony. I mean, I'm just wondering what's so compelling about that.
But I mean, Sean Penn's role wasn't super dramatic. I mean, it was cool because he wasn't in the film a very long time. But
let me
And he
let me
won
help
an
you, Roger.
Oscar. And he
Let me
won an
help you, Roger.
Oscar.
I mean,
And he didn't think enough of it. He didn't even think enough of his own performance in the film to appear in even after being nominated.
Let me help him, Roger. Let me help you, Roger. It was a movie about a white guy who was pussy whipped by this black woman, and he spent the whole movie chasing after this pussy. She called herself Jungle Pussy in the movie. All right, that's it.
What? Now the thing is, Sean Penn's character ended up having a sexual thing with a black woman that was played by Tiana Carrington's character, and he was chasing down a young lady, and that young lady actually happened to turn out to be his daughter, which he wasn't even aware of for a good portion of the film. So he was chasing down somebody to basically kill them, and then he found out it happened to be his daughter.
Which right there has suspense, has drama. Now I'll give you this. It was a little bit white knightish. It was a little bit save a hoe. Guilty as charged. But the fight scenes, the drama, the interaction between the characters, the chemistry there, right? I mean, top notch.
Well, that's what I've been saying. I could understand one battle after another winning. They just not shoving some BS around. When you don't give it to Sinners, I got to look at who you're gonna give it to, and at least they gave it to some
chemistry between the men. The chemistry between the men and Sinners and the women were electric. All of them were. All of them was with the light skinned girl, with the big sister, and with that fine chocolate thin sister. They were electric.
I disagree.
Oh, every moment they had together was beautiful, romantic, and sexual and sensual. They were electric together.
Well, I'm not talking about that type of chemistry. I'm talking about just like the dialogue flowing back and forth and how they vibing off one another. I wasn't talking about sexual chemistry.
When Smoke was talking to his woman about their dead child when they had been separated for a decade or whatever, that was a beautifully sad and rendered scene. That was a beautiful scene.
It was a good scene.
It almost made you cry.
No. Absolutely not.
Man, it was real. The movie was real. It just, even it was touched back then. It just seemed like it was I think it touched us. And it's a classic.
Man, Sinners is a $5 Sunday matinee. We ain't got nothing else better to do. I'm sorry.
So then what was missing in your opinion?
I guarantee you, for 40 years from now, people will be talking a hell of a lot more about Sinners than they will be talking about that one bad whatever bullshit.
One bad after another.
I guarantee you that.
You're probably right. And I want to say shout out real quick to Landon. Appreciate you, my brother. Landon hit me on the Cash App. He said the Negro two of this film, which I believe he's talking about. Matter of fact, let me read that again real quick, and then I say what you said. But he says, what is it? The negritude of this film. So I think he was agreeing with me saying that Sinners was so good that it wasn't going to be an Oscar winner. I believe that's where he was going with that. And shout out to Gold P. He says money for the plate, supporting the channel, like button press, The God is still rocking with you. Off top. Peace, peace, peace to everyone. Hey, appreciate you, Gold P. Appreciate you, Gold P. But after the show, I'm gonna need you to talk to this one brother because I think he's sick, y'all. I think somebody's got a fever today, and he just needs a little bit of help. It's messing with his mind. Because I'm going to say Sinners was one of the best movies that came out that particular year. It definitely should have won because it simply was a better movie than One Battle After Another, if you ask me. The only way I can really give any room to is the films that I did not see, because I can't honestly say were they better than Sinners or not because I didn't see them. But I saw One Battle After Another. Sinners was just better. Okay, One Battle After Another had a good storyline. It was a good film in a lot of different ways, but there just wasn't as much going on in that particular film that was going on in Sinners. There was a lot going on in Sinners. How the music scene was, or how these quote unquote guys who are from Chicago came back to Mississippi so they can quote unquote make a great life for themselves. The fact that they never got to finish their plan out because the vampires came through and messed that whole thing up. These were remember a story about former criminals coming back to settle back in their old town and bring up the community. Okay, these were guys that was supposed to be running. They supposed to be running with the crime syndicate that was going on in Chicago, but now they got out before they got hurt. And now they finna do great things for their people, and they're trying to restore Mississippi or kind of move Mississippi to compete with other places in the U.S. This was a story of Black people, putting great things together. It just didn't come into fruition because the vampires kind of derailed that plan. Okay, so it was just more going on with Sinners.
You even had you had the great Buddy Guy in that film. Buddy Guy, who came from Mississippi Delta, came up with Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and those guys. He was in that film. He was featured at the end of the film. He was the older Sammy. He was on the stage last night. This guy's 90-something years old, still going. Buddy Guy is a part of our cultural legacy, artistically, culturally. And he's a Chicagoan.
Yeah. And
still operated joint in downtown Chicago in his 90s.
I think we're confusing history with whether or not something is a good movie or not. Like, for example,
we're not confused. We're not confusing anything.
Sinners was a better movie, man.
I'm not confusing anything. I'm telling you why it was a great film, because it was real. It wasn't just about vampires. It was about Black culture, Black art, and it was beautifully done. It was beautifully done.
Now, I don't think he is, because I'm gonna say it was a better movie because it was a story of these guys that was able to, whatever they did in Chicago.
The story was not coherent, Roger. The story was not coherent.
No. Hear what I'm saying. Remember, these are criminals that was in the Chicago scene. They moved back home to Mississippi.
The story was not coherent. This ain't even consistent. The story was not coherent, but yet the guy gets the Oscar for the best original script. How the hell does that go together?
Well, so
explain to me how you get the Oscar. Hold on. Explain to me how you get the Oscar for the best script, original script, which means they took a blank piece of paper and wrote out a story, and they gave them an Oscar for it. And you saying the story was not coherent? You're just making up shit at this point, man.
No, I'm not. Because number one, I told you this was about white guilt. I said that in the beginning. And so that's the answer to your question. Number two, Roger, when you talked about they go to Chicago, make this money still, I believe they're working for like Al Capone, right? Or something like that.
I believe Al Capone might have been mentioned. Yeah, Al Capone might have been mentioned.
Right, either Al Capone or...
I think it was Al Capone. Now that you say it, that makes me more sure, because I was already thinking that they were supposedly going on with that particular set of people.
Right. So we're the setting of Prohibition, leaving Chicago, working for one of the most famous gangsters ever known in American crime lore history, crime lore, American crime lore. Now you're telling me that they came back, they wanted to build something to make the communities better, right? That story never gets flushed out, right? That story never gets flushed out about, from scene 1 to scene 2 to scene 3, right? Going to build it up, and that wasn't even the direction of the movie, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's not that. If you take out the vampire scene, the story falls flat. Because the whole point, I get the whole point of cultural appropriation, right? So we come back to Mississippi Delta, right? You have Sammy choosing the life between sin or righteousness. Righteousness going to the church with his father, or going through a life of sin, playing in bars and stuff like that. Then you have the supernatural aspect, or white people in a supernatural aspect of cultural appropriation. And to see the thing about cultural appropriation, even with that, it falls flat to me, because cultural appropriation is where you take another culture and you profit. They never really fully fleshed out how the vampires profit from Sammy's power. They never really fleshed that out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The way you're looking at the movie and the way I'm looking at the movie is two totally different things, because to me, it was very consistent, because these guys who, for quote unquote lack of opportunity, whatever, they ran around with Al Capone, they came back to where they come from. They opened up the juke joint, which was the beginning of the empire that they were creating for their own people in their own area. And they just simply got sidetracked by some vampires happen to show up. That does, well, I'm just saying that does not mean that in the future one brother was able to rebuild and continue.
The movie was not about Remick. You're not gonna know all the fucking motives about Remick, because it was not about Remick. Remick was a device to emphasize and illustrate the appropriation of black talent, and it was an exaggerated, sensationalized tool to do that. But essentially, it says, and they even touched on Remick's history and having his religion and whatever stolen from him by the British. He mentioned that in the movie. So there was a lot of elements about culture and about cultural death and social death that was noted in that movie. That's why I can't believe you're criticizing the script, and they gave the script an Oscar. They gave the script an Oscar, which means that it was the best script written, at least by the white people, that year.
Well, like
so
I said,
at this point, I don't even. What are we talking? Honestly, at this point, it seems like you trolling. It seems like you just kind of like finding stuff just to try to pull criticism out your ass. If you didn't like the film, that's fine. If you didn't like the fact that it's a period film, and a lot of black people don't like period films because we slaves and Jim Crow and all that kind of bullshit. Of course, everybody else get to tell stories about them rising up. Mel Gibson won how many Oscars for Braveheart? That was them being enslaved by the British, right? And then rising up against the British, right? He got all kinds. He got best film, best director, all that shit. It was at 95, 96. So it's okay for other people to suffer and then rise up against their oppression, but black folks can't do that.
How many Bravehearts? Compare the number of Bravehearts compared to the number of slavery and Civil War and civil rights movies that black people make.
Hey, let's be real about this. Some black folks salty about something Snoop Dogg said. Snoop one dude. At the end of the day, he's one guy.
Yeah, fuck Snoop. What the hell does Snoop know anything really about culture or anything? Snoop is not a historian. Snoop is not a historian. He's not some kind of trained cultural critic or sociologist or anything. He's a good musician. That's it.
And my thing is, because I'm not saying this to diminish Snoop in any kind of way. But
Well, I'm
Snoop
talking about
is, he's one guy. Same way
well,
I'm just one guy. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Snoop can feel how he wants to feel. I'm not saying there's a problem with Snoop saying what he said. What I'm saying is just because Snoop said that, don't mean I'm supposed to change my personal viewpoint. Snoop didn't change my viewpoint with what he said. He's just a guy with an opinion, and he don't want to see no more slave movies. That's fine. I don't have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, his opinion ain't got nothing to do with what I saw when I went in and watched Sinners. I just simply saw a good film with a whole lot of stuff going on. And to me, it made it a stronger film because there was multiple storylines going on throughout this
And
particular film.
there were no black folks shining and cooning and bootlicking to any white people in that film. Quite the
like
opposite.
Hey,
There
Shark
Roger.
were no
Sims
people
said,
samboning for no white people in that
hey,
film.
where the hell is Shark Sims? Shark Sims, why you leave me here with these people, man?
No,
Oh,
hold,
damn,
hold fast, hold
my
fast.
phone
Let me
had died. My bad.
let me read this from Turkish Tyrone, and I got to give it to Champ because Champ done came up. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone. He says, "Good morning, Roger and brothers. The Smoke / Stack twins were a portrait into strong, unapologetic FBA masculinity too. Thanks for the content, Roger." Turkish Tyrone, thank you for that statement, my brother. Thank you for that statement. I definitely appreciate that.
Exactly.
And it was all throughout that film too. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Roger. Can you,
Go ahead.
if it's possible, can you get Compassion and Callous to clip Uru saying "fuck Snoop"? That's a classic. That shit is a classic.
I mean, look. Let me
so much
say. Look, I don't have
like
anything
he's holding his
personally.
balls when he said
I don't have anything personally against Snoop, but just because you famous that don't mean you got the right to say everything. Say something about what all black people should think about what kind of movies they should see. And I don't know anybody. Does anybody force Snoop Dogg to go to see movies? I hadn't heard about that.
So I want to say this real quick. I don't know why we're talking about Snoop Dogg, but the point is that I have given you coherent examples of why I personally did not like the movie. I don't care that the Oscars said it was a good script. To me, it wasn't, and that's fine. That's fine, right? I do have the right to my opinion without be calling a troll or something like that. Now, listen. At the end of the day, it was a vampire movie. Now I get the simile that the vampires represented something else. I get that. But at the end of the day, this is categorized as a horror genre, and as a horror genre and a vampire movie, it sucked. And that's how I'm gonna leave it.
"Oh,
All
you
right.
saying
What
you just
what
didn't like putting it in that category? Like it was a bad horror movie per se. That's what I understand where you coming from."
Well, he said the other horror movies were better, so I'm gonna give him some. He's being consistent on that because he's mentioned the other horror films that he definitely believes is better than this particular horror film. But I gotta give some room for Champ to get in here. So the Champ is here. The Champ is here. Let's hear from the Champ. Go ahead, my brother.
Hey, Roger, what's going on? Happy Monday to you and happy Monday to all brothers and everything else. Wow. Somebody said that the movie Sinners suck. Really? Come on. Look, if you do some little bit of some research and some history to this movie, it was a metaphor. It was in dedication. It was in dedication to a blues musician by the name of Robert Johnson, who was a rising up and coming blues singer in during that time period and who died suddenly. And the movie realistically was kind of pointing to Robert Johnson and the character who played the um the guy who was the blues singer. It was kind of it was supposed to be him and everything else, except he survived it all and became a a famous blues musician and everything else. You see this movie was very important because it gave rise to blues music. It gave rise to a little bit of a new era of black culture during that time period. in the deep South where we were living in segregation and racial oppression and everything else. And, the church, yes, it gave us a community and everything else. It gave us a sense of hope, pride, spirituality. But the music, blues music, the reason why people didn't call it devil music, because you know they believe we should be going out there just partying and everything else during the night period and everything else. But it was about togetherness, starting our own thing and everything else, having fun. That's what the movie was about and everything else. Now, of course, also the scary parts, the vampires came out of nowhere. In truth, the white folks try to appropriate themselves into it and everything else, and they start attacking us black folks and everything else. But at the end of the day, the white folk get slayed and everything else. That's what the movie Sinners was about. Sinners was an authentically foundational Black American movie. It was a metaphor. It was a dedication to all the great blues musicians who created this music genre and everything else. And then all of a sudden it turned into rock and roll, R&B, country, believe it or not, grassroots music. Yes, Sinners is a very important movie, and I'm glad I got to watch it and everything else. And I'm glad they did a nice little tribute to Robert Johnson in that form. So, Roger, I'm glad you're talking about this movie. I'm glad for Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan for winning awards. I just wish it would have won best. I wish it would have won the main thing instead of that other movie that was promoting in a lot of ways bedwinching and everything else. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
Okay. And I'm
See,
gonna
Roger, this is the problem.
well, hold on. Let me remind everybody, y'all. This about the Oscars. These are the movies that came up in this particular year. Next year, it'll be a whole other group of different movies. But go ahead, brother.
Y'all too sentimental with this thing, man. It's like the only reason why y'all like it because it's a movie made by black people. Because there's nothing spectacular about that movie other than nothing. It really wasn't anything.
Uh,
Because we've been heard about how they siphon our talent and all that. What was so ill about the movie other than a black dude made it?
I would rather
ho-
watch
ho-
this movie than watching Tyler Perry's movie over and over and
Tyler
over
Perry
again.
wasn't nominated.
hold on. I'm gonna say the reason y'all don't like it because it's about black people. Because I'm looking at this as a movie. Movies have good
Mhm.
storylines that make them
Yes.
win. Movies have great acting that make them win.
Yeah.
Movies have a
Hmm.
lot of different elements that make them win.
Yes.
I'm saying Sinners had the
hmm
elements of winning movies.
and
That's
and
what
Yeah.
and
Sinners.
and,
Yeah,
and
Exactly.
other
No,
great
it only
movies
that it should have won.
are
It literally won that it
celebrations.
should have won.
Other great movies are celebrations of cultures of people. When those
Right.
other films that were nominated, except for even Frankenstein, those were all celebrations of various facets of white or European culture of some sort. They were
Yep.
celebrations of whiteness to a
Yep.
large extent, whether it's this part of Europe or that part of Europe or French people or German people, I guess, featured in Frankenstein. But all of those were about celebration of culture of people. But yet,
You
for
cut
some
your
reason,
cutting
black
Sims.
people
You're
don't want
cutting
to
Sims off.
celebrate the black people. Yeah, brother, when you were talking, I did not interrupt.
No, but you cut
But
Sims
yet,
off.
there's this
You cut
weird
Sims
thing.
off.
There's this
You
weird
do cut
thing
me. What are you talking
where
about? You
black
absolutely
people.
cut me off. You absolutely. That's some bullshit.
So you just gonna have to let them keep
There's
grandizing
this
about
weird thing where
everyday
black
black.
people don't want to celebrate, where black people don't want to celebrate their culture. Let me
Right.
talk to you,
Nah,
young black
Uru,
people,
that's
for a second.
Uru, that's
You gotta
disingenuous. That's
get over.
disingenuous.
You gotta get over this. You must get over this resentment and this fear and this dread and this hatred of our past. We
Oh my
all come
god.
from something.
Oh my
Some
god.
some of it is great and wonderful and beautiful, and some of it is terrible and dirty and gritty and bloody and awful. And it's all a part of us. We all come from it. And we can't
This
make it go away. We cannot make the past. We cannot make the cotton picking go away. We cannot make the slavery go away. We cannot make the rape go away. We cannot make the lynching go away. It's a part of
Can I
who
say?
and what we are. And the only thing we can
Right.
do is try to build from it to be fortified by it, because we did survive it. We
Yep.
survived all those terrible things. And we were made strong by all those terrible things. So the only thing we can really do, the only thing we can do is embrace all of it, celebrate all of it, dread part of it, but go forward from it. Now, there's a lot of
Yes.
wonderful people. Like when I was watching Sinners and I was watching the cotton picking scene, my mother picked cotton. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of what I came from that. That's
I
not
came
something
from
to
that
be
too.
ashamed
I
of,
did.
man.
My
Come from
family
that.
A
came from
lot of
Wait,
that.
can I?
wonderful,
We all
some of the
come.
most
What are you
wonderful
talking
black
about?
people
We
who have
all
ever
come from
lived
that.
have come from
Yeah.
that.
My
Okay.
Yeah.
father come from that. My
So it's
grandfather,
nothing to dread.
my great grandmother
It's
come from that.
nothing to
Wait.
dread. It's
Oh my
nothing to
Yeah.
god.
be
I think you,
ashamed of.
Okay,
Uru. I think you're
Yeah.
being Uru.
guys,
Exactly. Come
guys,
Nah,
on.
Uru is being very
guys.
disingenuous, and then he wouldn't even
Hold
let
on.
No, I'm
nobody
not being
defend their
just
point.
you.
All right,
No, you all are
let
being
y'all,
disingenuous. And
yeah,
you're being punks, man. Y'all being
hey,
punks.
let me say this. Let me say this, y'all. This movie was about the Oscars. This movie's about Best Picture, Best Director. I mean, this was the Oscars about Best Picture, Best Director, Best Leading Role, Best, you know what I'm saying, for actor, Best Leading Role for actress, Best Supporting Role for an actor, Best Supporting Role for an actress. It's about the best original screenplay, the best adapted screenplay, the best cinematography, the best film editing, best production design, best costume design,
Roger, you're
best
not being
makeup and
fair. You're not being
hairstyling,
fair.
best sound, best visual effect,
You're not being
visual
fair.
effects, original score, original song. It's about the best animated feature film, the best international feature film, the best documentary feature, the best documentary short film, best animated short film, best live action short film. Okay, and a few more other things. But at the end of the day, y'all, what I'm saying is the reason center is important, not because of what the story was about, unless you make it a good screenplay. Okay, you have to be able to tell a compelling story. Maybe I don't like the story of Sinners, which is fine if you don't like the story. What I'm saying is, with the way Sinners was put together, it was one of the better movies put together that this particular year. Period. And it was better than one battle after another, and I've seen them both. The only ones I won't even say nothing about is the ones I did not see, because they could have been better. I just don't know that they're better. But at the
So
end of the day, I don't understand what the point of arguing this. It was a good film about a certain period of time, but the film was good. The editing was good. The lighting was good. The costumes were good. It was a better film of the year.
it was so first, can we
But it's
please
not.
let Shark
I'll
Sim
go after
go
her.
and not have him interrupt, and then I would like to go after him if that's okay.
Fine, go ahead. You got it, Shark.
So, like I was saying, for Uru to say all of that, that was highly disingenuous. Because I'm coming from the angle of someone who watches movies, to watch a movie, to see the talent of a director doing something different, to see the talent of a screenwriter, to see the talent of the person who wrote the movie do something that's ill and that's going to make me say, "Damn, I want to start writing movies now." It's not about nobody liking to see Black history and none of that dumb shit. It's nothing about that. It's nothing about that. And for the fact of the matter, they could have wrote a better movie about Black history. So I just look at it as it was visually dope. It was visually dope, but it didn't push any boundaries or nothing like that. Now, as far as one of the best movies that came out for the year, yes, it was. It wasn't better than no movies that was. It was not. It was up against in for nomination. It was not. It was not better than that Frankenstein movie. It was not better than Begonia. I think Begonia should have won just off of the fact of the acting and the storyline was doper
Begonia was
than
better
Sinners.
too. Begonia was better
So
too.
I'm looking at it as a person who loves movies, who loves the cinematography of it. Not the like it's a lot more to a damn movie than you just seeing people picking cotton. You could have made a sci-fi movie of like it's, and that's the thing about you see how we took hip hop from the simplicity of it to where we have it at now with Kanye sampling beats, and you just never would have thought it would have got here. This is what we're supposed to be doing with making movies too. But for some reason, we just stagnated on this concept of this alone. Like we could be making Star Trek type movies with black people, all kinds of fly shit. Step it up, y'all.
So I would like to add my 2 cents. So now I'm sticking to the Oscars and I'm talking about the movie. I'm not talking about people's opinion about the past and history and making it personal. That was never me. So number one, the reason why so as I read, Sinners is classified as a horror action drama. Now, as it is classified, it was not one of the best movies in its genre of that year. Weapons was better. Anyone who has seen Weapons would say that was a way better movie than Sinners. And if you were going to expand the palette, Weapons should have been Oscar nominated and not Sinners. Now, when we talk about best movies, when we're comparing Sinners to the people that were nominated, Frankenstein, Begonia, and One Battle After Another, in my opinion, I'm going to agree with Stark. Begonia was a better movie than Sinners because at the end of the day, yes, we can look at the simile, yes, we can look at the metaphor, but as a horror film, nothing, it wasn't great at all. And then as a period piece, it wasn't anything we haven't seen before. And that is my critique there. It's not that I don't like black movies. Glory, I would say, is probably one of the best movies ever made, and that's a black movie.
All right, now I'm gonna jump in here and say shout out to Landy. He said, "Hotel, brother, hotel." Okay, and I'm gonna say shout out to Perfect Timing Podcast. He say the Leo movie, and that's the One Battle After Another. Winning is on par. They want you to focus on a secret white power conspiracy that's in vogue now. They want you to focus on Epstein and not the state of Black America. And I'm gonna say, great comment there. That's real talk.
Yeah.
And I'm also gonna say, at the end of the day, y'all, I didn't see all of them because I didn't see Frankenstein, I didn't see Begonia or whatever. I didn't even see Weapons, but I did
Wait,
see
you didn't see Weapons, Roger?
No, I didn't, but I did see the movie that won. One Battle After the. I saw the one that won, and I did say
Can I make an observation? Can I make an observation? Uninterrupted, please.
Sure.
What I have noticed is that what I have noticed is that there have been references to films that supposedly are superior to Sinners, but no detail provided about why those films are superior to Sinners.
You didn't
Now,
ask me, but
you can try to come up with that. Hold on. I didn't interrupt you all. Now, you can try to come up with some details now, but I know what the game is now. It ain't about those other films. It's about dumping on Sinners. And it's about creating fallacious reasons. I mean, Shark, you mentioned something about, I look at the cinematography. Bruh, the winner of the Oscar for cinematography was the Filipino black girl for Sinners.
Yeah, she
So
deserved
y'all dumped on the script. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all dumped on the script, and the script won the Oscar. You make some reference to cinematography, Sinners win the best cinematography. So what are y'all doing here, man?
Bro, it wasn't better than the
It
movies
comes
that it
off
was
as
up
being very
against.
disingenuous.
It
It comes
wasn't
off
better.
as being very disingenuous.
Ubu,
It
it
comes
wasn't.
off as being very, by your own words, it comes off as being very disingenuous. And again, y'all don't provide any detail about why those other films are better.
I provided details. You just didn't want to hear it.
Let me say what I was
No, you
saying.
didn't.
Look, y'all. Let me get in with what I was saying. What I'm saying is, I did not see all the films, but lucky enough for me, for this particular show, I actually saw the one that won. So I can directly compare Sinners to the one that actually won. Okay, and I saw the
But
one that
Roger,
won.
it was pulling teeth from you to try to even get an explanation as to why the film was good. You were
What?
talking about the storyline, but you weren't talking about why the film itself was good.
No,
I
but
had to repeatedly. I mean, and it makes me suspicious when somebody says something is better than something else. Repeatedly say something is better than something else, but don't provide any detail as to why.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Well, hold on, because my thing is I can give context on the why, and because I've saw the movie that actually won, I'm not gonna say them other films weren't deserving to be nominated. I'm definitely not gonna say that, especially if I didn't see it. But when it comes to the movie that Sinners lost to, I can say for sure that Sinners was a better film. Why? There was more going on in Sinners than was going on in One Battle After Another. Okay? To me, the storylines, because films have multiple storylines going on, at least the better films, you got multiple storylines going on at the same time. Sinners storyline was a much better storyline because the basic storyline for Sinners was about the fact that these two former criminals were coming back to where they come from to go legit and create a good thing for their part of their society. One battle after another, main storyline was about a young lady rebelling against her father, and then another gentleman finding out that young lady was actually his daughter, even though he was about to kill the chick. At the end of the day, Sinners was more compelling than One Battle After Another when I compared them head to head. Okay, was the acting good in both films? Yes, but I got to give credit to Michael B. Jordan, who played two fantastic characters, versus Leonardo DiCaprio only having one to play. At the end of the day, Leo ain't supposed to win. He had one good character to play. Michael B. Jordan had two good characters to play. How do I play two good characters and don't win when you only play one good character? That don't even make sense.
Can I say something real quick?
All right,
So,
I'm after Shark then.
Well, Champ said something, so let's Champ. Then you Shark.
I haven't seen One Battle After Another, but there was the complaint was that the lady, Tiana Taylor's character, she was essentially just playing, the typical over sexualized black woman and everything else. And that came across, and part of the reason why I'm hesitant watching that movie again is that it just gives me that vibe of that. It just gave me another that Halle Berry character when she played in Monsters Ball. That's part of the reason why I don't want it. I didn't really care for that movie, but I am going to watch it at some point. But I'm no disrespect for Tiana Taylor. She is a beautiful lady, but I'm glad she didn't win it though, because
Okay,
I
real
don't know
quick,
because of that.
because now that's unfair. You may not like something about a movie, but that doesn't take away from the movie's greatness.
he ain't even
Yes,
see the
Her
movie.
playing the character that you don't agree with does not mean she don't play the character well. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to like a movie about slavery, but that doesn't mean the movie wasn't put together well. That's a different thing. And I'm saying based on what the Oscars did, they put these films up there, and the one they happen to pick as a winner I can definitely say Sinners was a better movie than the one they picked as the winner. I didn't see Frankenstein. I didn't see Begonia. So, I ain't got nothing bad to say about them because I didn't see it. That'd be unfair for me to say something bad about them and I didn't see them. They could have been better than Sinners. I just don't know that it's better than Sinners. But I do know the one that gave the Oscar to. And I can legitimately say that movie was not better than Sinners. Just wasn't.
Now, I with no placeholder said was kind of dead on because I know for a fact that if Weapons was nominated for that best film, Sinners and that One Battle After Another would not even been able to touch a candle or whatever the phrase is to that. Weapons was phenomenal. And Uru, if you've seen it, I shouldn't even have to tell you why it was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Weapons should have been the movie of the year, period.
Absolutely. That should have been for sure.
Depending on when it came out, it might be the movie for next year. That might be the front runner for next year.
No, it was up. It was in the. It was in the. It was up in the categories, but it wasn't nominated in here. But I think it should have been because if it was, you wouldn't have had that Tiana Taylor movie. But I think they're still trying to push an agenda like they always are. So, you know what I mean? So, but Weapons, Roger, you was slipping on some movies this year, bro. Because man, listen.
So,
I mean, can I say
Weapons was
a few
terrific.
things right now?
I'm next.
Go ahead.
So this and Gilgamy, if you can put the chat put the link in the chat for perfect timing so you can get this act right because he's saying some bullshit in the chat. So first and foremost, I want to say this, right?
Matter of fact, let me say this too, y'all. Let me say this too, because this is a good time to say it. First of all, if you're new to the channel and you want some of the best conversations you ever gonna hear, you might as well subscribe. We do this Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you live, Chicago time. Secondly, because we're having issues with the system, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, I give appreciation to whoever is the sponsor of the particular stream that we're doing. I'm also putting the link to join the panel on that screen because for some reason the system is not allowing me to post it like I normally do. So the link to join the panel will always be at the back end of the message of the sponsor of the stream, just so people will start to know that. Okay, I'm gonna try to mention that from time to time, so I want people to know that. All right, go ahead, brother.
So what I want to say is this: is that I'm judging Sinners on what the genre is and what was presented. I don't think you guys are giving a fair and adequate evaluation for what Sinners is, right? Because all of you are saying take out the vampire part. Well, the vampire part is literally the fourth act, half of the third act, and all of the fourth act. And on top of that, it's classified as a horror film. Can we really sit here and say that this was an amazing horror film?
It was classified as three different films, three different genres.
I did not interrupt. Right? At the end of the day, is this a good horror film? You cannot say it is. We could talk about the period piece. We could talk about the art and what it exhibit and stuff like that, right? But did it do a good job of being a phenomenal?
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, but you don't hear him talking?
Yeah, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, so okay, please let my plane. So at the end of the day, right, I'm evaluating it based on how I evaluate any other movie, and I get it. It's a black movie, so it should get brownie points because Roger is on that train, right? Like, hey, if there's a black movie, I don't care what it is. If it's the only black movie up, I'm gonna vote for that and I'm gonna win. I get that.
That's
right?
not what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that's how you roll, and I appreciate that.
Roger said I'm gonna get you something. Should get an Oscar.
If there's only one black movie there, then you know who he's voting for, hands down. So I get that. But at the end of the day, if we're going to be fair and we're going to sit here and evaluate it, not for not only for the art or the culture that it displays, but hey, was it great storytelling? Was it great acting for a horror film? And the answer is no. I'm sorry.
The guy
I didn't even know it was
literally
a horror
won an
category under the
Oscar.
horror.
Guy literally won an Oscar for Best Actor. The film literally won an Oscar for Best Cinematography. The film literally won an Oscar for Best Original Script. So, like every
That's a jerk.
criticism you guys are citing,
That was the
the
false one. If they got
motherfuckers,
best original
other than
script,
Best
they shouldn't have
Picture
got that one.
and Best Director, they are literally getting Oscars. I did not interrupt you while you were talking. I didn't interrupt you. The criticism that you guys are using, the film actually got Oscars for. Don't y'all realize that?
Don't you realize there's something called white guilt? Don't you
Thank you.
realize something that in no way, shape, or form,
Okay,
did.
okay. Can I say a
Hold
few
on,
things
no,
now?
wait.
Now
In
you
no,
been talking a lot, player.
I don't care. I got privilege. In no way, shape, or form,
Fuck your privilege.
you gonna tell me that Michael B. Jordan? Number one, Michael B. Jordan is not a good actor. Period. No. Let me take that back. In no way is Michael B. Jordan. There's no way a Michael B. Jordan, an actor better than decent. He is a decent actor, and you cannot tell me that Leonardo DiCaprio, in One Battle After Another, did a worse job than Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. Michael B. Jordan is one of those B plus actors. Point blank period. He is not. His skills is not A list. It's just not. He's not a Denzel. He's not a Jamie. He's not a Will Smith. He's not on that level.
All right, let me go.
Now go ahead and lie.
Let me say a
You
few things.
go ahead, but after you, we gonna get Jado in because he done came up. Go ahead.
First of all, I've never seen Negroes arguing against the success of other Negroes as hard as y'all are doing right now. And with Negroes like you, I don't need enemies. Okay. Secondly, I've heard many arguments about, oh, they should not make this movie. I'm tired of Slaves movie. Okay, I get it. All right, cool. But how many World War II, World War One movies have we had over the years? A whole bunch. How many Call of Duties they made about World War One, World War Two? A bunch of them. How many white gangster movies, Italian mob movies, all those movies have they've been making? And make sure that they became popular. You know, the Peaky Blinders. Oh, by the way, they are about to make a new movies about the Peaky Blinders. It's about to come out in a couple of days. So I find it hard to believe that Negroes fear their histories like that. When I saw this movie,
Now you making
when
it
I saw this,
personal. Roger,
when I
he's making it
can,
personal.
when you were speaking, I let you speak.
We have a right to retaliate. He's making it personal.
No. I'm not
If you're
done.
not going to interject,
I'm
you
not
have a right to
done.
retaliate.
I'm not done. When you were speaking, I didn't interrupt
Well,
you.
let him land his
Let him
plane.
finish. Let him finish.
Okay, but later on, don't be like, hey, don't do this because he's making it personal. But then when I retaliate, I'm the bad guy.
What
I'm
did I
not gonna
say
say.
that was personal to you? All right. So when I watched Sinners, I was so happy to see all these Negroes in one movie acting. I was happy to see it because I was seeing a bunch of Negroes and few white faces. Man, I was having a blast. I wanted to be around these Negroes to cheer even for one day. So for me, like I always say, Sinners is the best vampire movie that is not even about vampires.
All right, now I gotta let Jado in because he done came up. And then we got Perfect Timing Podcast coming in. We gonna get him in after Jado. Jado, you got the flow.
I'm after perfect. I'm after perfect because I got something for his ass.
All right, well, what's going on, fellas? Hope y'all doing good. Salute to the chat, salute to the replay game. I'm not here to argue Negroes over their opinions and stuff like this. It's just my humble opinion. Yeah, congrats to Michael B. Jordan for his uh, winning the Oscar. I mean, I'm just saying personally, I don't care about the Oscars like that. I don't know if it's a good film. It's a good film. It's good acting, and all the other awards. If I deem it good, then it's good. If it's supported by the people, it's good. You know what I mean? I thought I thought Sinners was a decent movie. I thought One Battle After Another was a decent movie as well. Neither one of them blew my mind particularly. My only my problem is with Sinners. I felt it was a little muddled to me. It was kind of like, to me personally, it was kind of like cheating a little bit. It was like, I'm gonna throw all these little aspects that black people like, and we're gonna support it. So I'm gonna throw in some gangster stuff. So with the associations with, the mob up in Chicago with an Al Capone and stuff like that. So you got the gangsterism in there, and then you got I guess the historical. You got the music stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got the musical stuff. Black folks, we love music, man. We created a lot of it, so we're gonna throw that in there. We like horror movies too. So let me throw a little horror in there, and let me throw the black man, the clearly black phenotypically black man having sex with a passing a white passing, I guess, mixed woman, supposedly. We love all that, and then eating oral sex. The young black man having oral sex with a sweaty black woman. I mean, I think for me, it was. I think I don't know, man. I think they just threw all this stuff together because all black people gonna receive it, and a lot of times, man, just to appease black people, they throw us bones a lot of times, man, to make us poke our chest out. And again, maybe I may be way offline with it, you know what I'm saying? But it was very very muddled, man, to me. But an entertaining movie, and I thought, and there was some good aspects to it. Anyway, I guess I'll end right there. Thanks for having me up.
There you go, Black Guru. There you go.
They gonna kill you. You the biggest coon in the world now, Jado.
No, hey.
Jado, man, I rock with you heavy, man. I rock with you.
No.
Okay, but no. Hold on. This is what I'll say quickly. Notice that Jado was specific about what he did not like about Sin. And that's how I will contrast what Jado presented versus what you other Negroes presented. Now continue.
So I had to give you a whole rundown of why I didn't like the movie.
Well, hold fast, because I got these other guys who done came up, and now Great Black Reset done joined us too. So, first of all, let me do this. Let me do this properly too. Perfect Timing Podcast is coming to us next. Perfect Timing Podcast does actually host his own show. He hosts a great show. I spy on this nigga from time to time. He don't know every time I'm in there, but a lot of times I'm listening to him. He just don't know I'm listening. The man does fantastic work. This is somebody y'all should subscribe to. Real talk. Okay, so shout out to Perfect Timing Podcast, a gentleman who with his own show. So don't be shocked that he's amazing when he get the mic. The man does his own content, and I want to make sure he gets props. So y'all make sure you subscribe to his channel as well. I'm gonna go see if I don't know if they're gonna let me grab a link to your channel, because they won't even let me put a link to my own channel. And it's what they making it difficult for me. But Perfect Timing Podcast does a fantastic job. A lot of great political news and information you're gonna get off his channel. So I appreciate you being here, brother. I appreciate you being here. Go right ahead, brother. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Roger. That was dope, man. This is where I got started, so this is my home, so it's nothing to come back here, man. Thank you. I love to say the same thing whenever I see you in my chat. I love to shout you brothers out who support the channel, so thank you. Real quick, man, I just want to respond to my brother Jado. Like, everything you said, I was laughing as you were speaking because it's true, but it's true for the other movie also. The white man with the black woman, the mixed baby, You know what I'm saying? The stereotypical strong black woman. Everything you said that you applied to Sinners is exactly what they did. They gave the same red meat to the girl shooting the white man at the end. If you hate white, to the protesting in the bay, the exact same things they did in the other movie. It was the same playbook. If that Jado, I agree with you. With Sinners, they did that, but they did the same thing. It just was a white man in the lead. It was the same playbook. The exact same thing. The red meat that black women would love, that hoteppers would love. They put the same thing in that protest film. The exact same points of view in that. But what I would extrapolate from both of us is that, and to share with the elder, is what did I say about black culture? As he said earlier, how it all started in the Mississippi Delta. Both of the two top movies have these identifiable tropes that you stated. So that says a lot about black culture and the prominence of black culture in films, right? And American culture and global culture. That both of the two top films had to be based in what a lot of us here would say is really what the quintessential American fabric, black American culture, coming from the South in both movies and dealing with this struggle that right now is entrenched in everything, right? Because the movie, I argued in the chat, the Leo movie won because it's a period piece about now. They want the kids to protest. You got the little girl protesting. They're trying to inspire something right now, right? So that's why that film, they had to elevate that film because those are the people who run in the Oscar Academy, right? Them is the Dems. They got a certain point of view. They elevate that film. It gives power to what's going on in America right now. Daddy, can I go and drive the protest? Daddy, no, I don't need to go to school. Can I borrow the car? And he's just sitting there smoking a joint, a white man. Yeah, go ahead and protest. That's a lot of messaging with that film winning, right? So with the elder, what Uru was saying, the other movie was Sinners. Number one, I said, if Ben Affleck and Matt Damon make that movie, they win. And if Ben Affleck or Matt Damon play two roles as well as Michael B. Jordan did they go on to make $20-80 million a film?
They sweeping the Oscars.
Yeah, they're winning the Oscars easily.
I would agree with that.
And they have great careers. And this producer who struggled, that got shit on for Black Panther, who got shit on in the bank, this producer then becomes Quentin Tarantino. He's not Quentin Tarantino, y'all. He's still Spike Lee, and that's bullshit. While we sit here arguing about, there's a lot of realities that we missing. Leo is a billionaire, fucking young bitches making $100 million a film, and these two niggas had to struggle together with matchsticks like Rambo in the fucking wilderness to make this movie and every movie they make. But if it was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they would be on their way to billionaire pussy cocaine on yachts and making whatever film. You know, the Matrix motherfuckers and turn to women.
Yes.
Get to live the Hollywood life. Come on, man. Like, this is a great movie. If any other white man plays these roles the way Michael B. Jordan played, and then like the elder said, they wrote the script, like everybody would be lining up to give them money. Write me a script, make me a movie. Instead, we're debating on whether or not they should have won when it's obvious they should have won just by what Jado said, because both movies are the same down the line. They both are playing to the same people, right?
Preach.
So here's the.
Well, hold fast. I got no. Remember, Great Black Research came in. Now, I gotta say, I told y'all plenty of times I don't really believe in coincidence. And his name is Perfect Timing Podcast, who I believe came right at the perfect time to follow Jado up. So shout out the Perfect Timing Podcast. He never disappoints, y'all. He never disappoints. But we got to get Great Black Reset in there, and then we'll let you get in there. Man, what's your name today? Mama Jordan, and then we'll get Sims as well.
Mama Jordan creeping.
Mama Jordan Creep. We'll get you in, but let me let Great Black Reset in here. He ain't had a chance to say nothing yet. Great Black Reset, you got it, brother. Reset, come on. Great Black Reset going once. Great Black Reset going twice. We can't hear you, brother. I don't know what's going on. We can't hear you. Go ahead, get in, bro. Go ahead.
All right, so listen up. See, this is where I have a problem with Perfect Timing, my brother. That you don't really recognize history. See, when the Russo brothers wrote Black Panther, when he came in with the Civil War, Black Panther was awesome, kicking ass. Then when they give it to Ryan Coogler, now this nigga can't talk to women. He's afraid of bitches here and there. All you need women. Not sure where to go up or down. Do you remember that, my brother?
This is not about 2025, man. This is not about 2025. This is 2026, man.
I'm building up. Allow me to build up, right? Because he talked about cocaine and women and yachts, right? So allow me to build up, right? So let's remember that, right? And then not only that, when you got the second shot of Black Panther, you killed off Angela Bassett for no apparent reason. So the reason why
we hear you now.
Okay. Hold on, but the reason why Matt Damon and Affleck would make Rough Marty doing Sinners is because they're better at it than Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. He's better at it. It's amazing. Now you can call me hater, whatever, but J Lo had a point. Like it was a hodgepodge of gumbo, and this nigga is in the bay. How many people want to eat gumbo cooking by people in the bay? No.
How many white men get to get this cookie? That's what I want to know to sell us on this. How many white men? How many white men got to get the cookie? Right?
1%.
I've been looking for a good gumbo spot. Okay, but before we get into all that, y'all, Great Black Reset hasn't had a chance to say anything, so let's let him in. All right, Great Black Reset, you got it, brother.
Mic check. I want to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear.
We hear you now, brother. We hear you now.
Okay, so first of all, I want to apologize for coming to class late. I had some things going on today, but as soon as I get on, what do I hear? Hot sauce over there with the coonery. What the fuck? Oh, excuse me. This is a family show. J-Lo came in with a little less coonery, but coonery nonetheless. What is wrong with y'all? See, this is what's wrong with us. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with us, and then I'm going to tell you about the film first. What's wrong with us is we was waiting on Michael B. Jordan to get snubbed so we could talk trash about the Oscars. But since he did get snubbed, then we against Michael B. Jordan. This is bullshit, y'all. Y'all need to decide what team you're going to be on and stay on it. This is bullshit. Some bullshit, man. Now, I'm team Michael B. Jordan. I'm team Ryan Coogler. This movie was fantastic in its production value and its cinematography. The Michael B. Jordan playing Smoking Stack, he made me forget it was one person playing two different people while I was watching the film. I literally forgot he was playing two parts.
Me too.
I haven't seen that kind of acting and at that level since Eddie Murphy started doing that way back when, bro. This was fantastic. The way that they complimented each other,
that was a credit. Mm-hmm. That was a credit to both his acting and Coogler's direction. Because if Coogler don't direct that a certain way, then it looks very clunky. So it's really a great example of both acting. It really is a great example of both acting and directing.
Elder.
That's why.
Elder, it looks campy.
Y'all gotta let him.
No. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say it looks campy because it's a horror movie. Typically, that's a comedy. To do that in a horror movie makes it even more complicated for you to stay scary. If you do it wrong, it looks campy. It looks like a comedy.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there were a couple of scenes. It were a couple of scenes where he so seamlessly contrasted how Smoke and Stack were very different guys.
Yes,
It was a
that's the
couple
point.
of scenes where, where they were very different men. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm getting to. It was obviously they were different people, which is what made me forget. Like it was the boy that was the singer and the two of them hiding the truck in the woods, and one throws the knife to the other one and the other one grabs it. It looks like two different people in that one scene,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
seamless when they're fighting each other
Or
at the end. Well,
when Remick is singing and playing the banjo, and Stack starts jamming to it, and Smoke was over at him like, motherfucker, that was a
you're right.
fantastic scene.
Man, you guys don't know. You guys don't know artwork. When you're looking at this and you're criticizing the way you're criticizing it, it just tells me you don't understand the art of what they're doing and how difficult it is. I always marvel
No.
at people doing things I'm not capable of doing. You guys are talking like you could have got in there and done that shit, man. This is coonery at its best.
Wait, say that
That's a
again. Wait,
that's a horrible argument, bro. Just
hold,
because it's a
hold
lot
on,
of
hold
shit
on,
we
hold
can't
on,
do, bro.
hold
We
on.
talk about
No,
basketball players, bro. We talk about a lot of stuff we can't do, bro.
yeah. Well,
That's
listen,
a horrible
I'm
argument,
taking,
man.
I'm taking this one personal. The boys went over there to England and
Jado,
they
hold
got
on,
called.
hold on.
What are we
Time
talking
out,
about?
time out.
Come on,
Elder
man.
privilege,
Them,
elder privilege, elder privilege. I want Jado to respond to Perfect Timing's criticism that the same damn
No,
thing happened in
hey,
both films, because I noticed that
I
Jado
wanted.
did not respond to that.
No,
You ain't give him a
thank you. I
chance.
wanted to. No,
Reset was
he's
talking.
no perfect. When I said that, I thought they were both decent films. So I'm not even saying. So he's absolutely right. The only thing I would just add to it, one battle after another was a little more streamlined, a little more focused. And Sinners was a little all over the place, like with the
Yeah,
supernatural
absolutely.
and the music and we got the hip hop and the blues and the all. It was just a little too much all over the place. But he is absolutely right with the tropes and the stereotypes. He's absolutely right.
Wait,
To respond to that,
can I
go ahead,
ask the
Shark. Go ahead.
panel a question? Would Sinners be a good movie if it was white people playing the roles?
It'd be
No,
the same. It'd
no,
be the
no,
same.
no,
honestly,
no, no.
No,
nah.
no, no, because
Listen,
No.
you couldn't make white people did
you
not
can't.
invent American music.
No,
Black
no.
people invented
Well,
American music.
it's a movie
If
though,
you
Udi.
had,
So it's a movie. So you
if
could
you
put.
had, if
Yeah,
you had
but
Timothy,
how do you have hold
if
on?
you
How do you have an authentic movie about that subject matter when black people created
Hey,
American music?
hey,
White people didn't create American
when
music. How do
when
you
you
do
say
that?
made, what do you mean when you say made it, Shark?
If it was Matt Damon in the movie, like if it was some white actors playing the roles that everybody was playing,
Oh,
So you
okay, that'd
got
be
white
different then. That'd
actors
be different then.
creating
Nah.
blues music. Hold on,
it would be
you got
different
white actors,
because
you got Ben Affleck creating blues music. Is that what you're saying?
What
No,
I'm gonna say there was a couple of white actors in this particular movie. Now, if you replace some of them with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon,
well, shit, you would
I
have had
don't
a
know if
Yeah,
everybody
blockbuster.
gonna have
yeah,
the same
yeah,
opinion they got right
yeah. That
now.
would,
wait,
yeah, that would have
wait,
worked,
hold
of
on.
course. Yeah.
I wanna reclaim 30 seconds of my
Well,
time because y'all stepped all on me. But I
if
understand.
you make
I understand.
Ben Affleck
No.
or Matt Damon Remick,
Yep.
I guarantee you, if you make Ben
No,
Affleck or Matt Damon
Yeah.
Remick, I guarantee you they get a Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
Correct.
I'm
I
going.
guarantee
I'm
you they
going.
do.
Possibly,
I'm
I
gonna
possibly
answer your
would go with that.
question within the movie. The white boy who played the main vampire, he did a good job. And remember, they was out there playing the banjo and all this other bullshit out there. That's what it would have been like. It would have been like Interview with the Vampire with some banjos. It would have been some bullshit.
And did Interview with a Vampire win?
Yeah, it did.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no. I didn't say whether it won or not. It just
No, no,
would have
no. I'm
been some
just saying to the
bullshit.
point. No, to the point that
Oh,
when the white people did
interview.
it, they won.
Yeah, it was fantastic. They won, and nobody said anything.
Right.
Well,
See,
no,
this is
see,
what
time out,
what
time out,
It
time out.
did not win
Interview
Best
with a
Picture.
Vampire
It
was
did
a
not win
terrific
Best
movie.
Picture.
It
It did
wasn't no.
not.
They didn't get no bones thrown to them. B. That was a great movie, and that's what I'm
No.
trying to say. It feels like y'all just throwing bones to things because black people made it. If black people made a whack ass
No,
movie, they made a whack ass
No,
movie.
no, I think we got to
no,
be
Now,
no, 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 no,
that,
no, no,
that's
no, no, no.
that's a
real quick.
bullshit statement.
No,
Black people make hundreds of films a year that we don't even pay any attention to at all. So that's a bullshit statement,
but
Charles.
look, I want to
That
say
don't
one
mean
thing.
that they
I want
not.
to
That
give.
don't mean
I
that
want
they
to give.
not good, and that don't mean that they are good. If you don't pay attention, you ain't watch them. You ain't watch them. But we do
If
make a
there,
Yeah,
whole bunch of movies, and a whole bunch
but
of
you
our
say
movies
that
are
as
great.
if we're only concerned about films that are made by black people, when the vast majority of films are made by black people. We don't even mention at all.
In the Oscars or like amongst ourselves.
Well, I mean,
at all.
we're talking about the Oscars. So at the end of the day, they not gonna get that type of play. And tomorrow's show gonna be real interesting because I'm gonna actually, for the first time, give y'all a real homework assignment for tomorrow. So I'm gonna see what stuff gonna go. I'm gonna see.
I thought tomorrow's show was about Shazam.
Oh, you know what?
I
You
thought
know
tomorrow's
what?
show was about
We'll
Shazam.
hold it off for later. Like we'll hold on. We gonna do what we gonna do. So maybe Friday. It's gonna be maybe the idea like that. Maybe we'll hold it to
Bro,
Friday, but it's gonna be something. Trust
you got, man. There are this movie. If it had any drawbacks, is that the story was incomplete. Like as
Thank
far as
you.
the whole
Thank you.
background
Thank
for
you.
the background was incomplete
Thank
and stuff like that. But aside from the story being incomplete,
Thank you.
if you were just looking at the story as being clunky and you're saying, hey, the story wasn't well put together, okay, I give you that. But with what they had and what they worked with, they put it. It was beautiful. What
Brother,
they did put together was beautiful.
no movie came out for that year that was better than Weapons. Point blank.
That, that was better than what?
Weapons.
Was weapons
I didn't
nominated?
see.
You
And it
I didn't see
didn't
weapons.
even get
you
nominated.
have mentioned weapon. You have mentioned weapons a half dozen times. You ain't
Do you
said
want
shit
me to
about
break
why it
down?
was so
Do you want
great.
me to break down Weapons to you, Uru? Weapons was dope. It was about the way
Well,
they even put it together. It was a story about kids missing, but they went from one person's perspective to another person's perspective to another person's perspective, but all the perspectives started on the same day. So now you're seeing from like 8 different angles of what's going on to the point where you still
Oh,
don't even know how it's going to end, and you're
I
sitting
don't
there
see.
waiting
Sounds
for
like
I
the
seen
ending.
three. I seen three
Cinematography
movies.
wise,
Wait,
crazy.
let that man
Concept,
finish.
crazy.
Shit, he ain't let me finish. What you talking about?
Your first 30 seconds was on silent, bro. We didn't hear nothing from you.
Yeah, you messed that up. Then you want to talk shit when you got in. But now I apologize. Finish your joint. I apologize for that.
it sounds like
me. All right.
No,
Real,
I've seen three different movies like what he's describing. They're usually about either natural disasters or a nuclear strike. So I haven't seen Weapons yet, so I'm gonna take a look at it just because he said that. But I'm telling you, man, you guys that don't appreciate this movie properly, you don't understand cinematic genius.
yeah, all
You
right.
really do not understand cinematic genius.
Okay,
I don't
and
think we
let me
talked about
hold on
it being a horror.
real quick. Shout out to Landon. Appreciate you. He says, "Smoke the juke joint slayer." Appreciate the super chat, my brothers. Appreciate the super chat. And I do want to say that Weapons was nominated for well, no, they won. They also won for Best Supporting Actress. So that's
Yeah,
the shine Weapons got. Best Supporting Actress. So they did their thing, but that's the only thing they got this year.
yeah, they
So to
got
say
jerked.
now, I'm gonna
now,
say
now,
I didn't
who
see
was that?
Weapons.
Amy? Was that Amy Madigan? Was that Amy
Uh,
Madigan?
yes, it was. It was. So now
Okay.
this is what I'm gonna say too. The stuff got to make some level of sense. Center's got a few different wins, and so did one battle after another. Now to say Weapons was a film that should have won, and they only got acknowledged as best supporting actress. That's it.
Yeah, they
You
got jerked.
you gotta. I'm saying you do gotta win 2, 3, 4 something so you can say you best. I mean, if you give it to the film that only got best supporting actress, that don't make a whole lot of sense. I'm just saying. So at
Well, that's
least it
just
was
coming from our
consistent.
perspective because obviously Sinners did rack up more, and the Leo joint did rack up more. So on the books, yeah, I can't say they didn't do better, you know. But if you watch the movie, that's another thing. We like literally on here. Everybody's commenting about movies that we ain't even seen, and some saw and some didn't see, and it's like like if we didn't see all of those movies on that list that it went up against, how are we really being honest with what we're
that,
saying right now?
but I did. That's what I did point it out. I did see the movie that beat Sinners, so I can actually have a direct comparison with that movie and Sinners.
And
You see what I'm saying?
what
I
perfect
can't.
timing, but what perfect timing said is absolutely correct because that movie that beat Sinners was not better than Begonia. So they had a little message and an agenda they're trying to push at the same time. But that
And
movie
I
wasn't
did. I
good.
did acknowledge that I hadn't seen Begonia. That's why I haven't said nothing bad about Begonia because it technically could be better than Sinners, and I'm just unaware that it's better than Sinners. But the one that won, oh, I can say for sure that it shouldn't have won, not over Sinners. Now, I'm going to give us room to have our own personal
I'm
opinions, but I'm
disappointed.
saying, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, ain't nowhere in the world Sinners supposed to lose to one battle after another. Sinners just have, and I guess it's about your perspective because the fact that Sinners had more going on that made it a more compelling movie to me. Y'all said it had too much going on. To me, the more you can fit into a film and the film goes along smoothly, the better the movie is.
Oh,
Hey
I'm
Roger, you still
disappointed.
got Jada
I'm
on here, right?
disappointed.
You know we've
It's
been slacking on our
fascinating. It's
movie reviews.
fascinating to me because they literally gave him the Oscar for best original script. So
I don't think
I
that
mean,
was
I
an
just
original
find
script.
that comment to be very interesting in light of that being one of the few Oscars that it was nominated for that they actually won.
See,
What was
this is what
original about that script, Guru?
this is what I find.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what
What
they
is that?
doing.
Hold
We
on.
got to
This
give
is what
props to
I'm
the
having
fact it was a
problem.
horror film and it was
This is what I
actually
have a
scary.
problem. This is what I have a
It was
problem with,
scary.
right?
It was a
Like
good horror film.
we talk like so. This is the problem. Number one, horror films do not get nominated like that. That's why Weapons is not going to be nominated for Best Picture. Those types of movies are just not what the Academy promotes. Number two,
So that's a win for them. That's a
Yeah.
win for them.
we talk as if the Academy never misses. So when we say things like, "Well, how can you say that Begonia was better when the battle one after another wins," right? We talk like the Academy is always 100% correct. Like for example, the Hurricane. Denzel Washington got snubbed for that. The Hurricane should have won Best Picture and Best Actor.
Mm-hmm.
No questions about that during that time.
Okay, if you're gonna say
I did not
a film
interrupt
should
you. I did
win
not
Best
interrupt you.
Picture
I did not
or Best
interrupt you.
Actor,
I
you
did
should
not.
cite the
Okay,
films
I did
and
not
the
interrupt
actors
you.
who
I did
won
not
those
interrupt
years.
you.
You
I
should
did not interrupt you.
cite the films
I did
and
not
the
Fellas.
actors that
interrupt you.
won those years
From this
so
point
that
on, I'm
other
gonna
people can
consistently
determine
interrupt
whether
you
or not they
because you'll
agree.
always interrupt me. How the fuck can you just cut in front of me when I'm
No, I don't
talking?
always interrupt you. I don't
Y'all two
always
Don't
always
worry
interrupt
about
you.
fight.
it.
Come on
That's a
Don't
now.
worry
lie. I
about
don't
it. Don't
always
worry
interrupt
about it.
you.
But that is highly
I don't always
disrespectful.
interrupt you.
That is highly.
But
Don't do
you
that at
you
all.
No,
all
hold
keep
on.
citing
That's
you keep
Hey,
citing
bullshit.
hey.
you keep
That is
citing
some
what you think the
bullshit.
best film should be
That is some
during
bull.
years, but you
I'm
don't
talking
cite
and
the
you're
films that
interrupting me.
actually win those
I'm
All right,
years.
talking and you're interrupting
You
me.
don't
hey,
cite the
Not that
films that
you're
actually
talking
but
win those
first.
all right,
years.
Not
That's
that
but
you're talking. I
intellectually
defer to you.
black,
lazy.
black,
I was
black,
That's
women after
Roger,
women
intellectually
Roger.
Black
lazy.
after
Who
Uro,
girls.
won that
let him
year?
land his plane. Let him land his plane. I'm not
Cool.
saying your
Anyway,
point
He
ain't
never
valid, but
lands his
let him
damn
land the
plane.
plane.
The plane ends up in fucking space. He never lands his plane.
He needs more
let's
gravity.
land the
He needs more
plane.
gravity, man. Give him some time. He'll get there.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm the most succinct motherfucker on the planet, on the
Hey,
panel.
Ooh.
let's chill.
I'm sick of it. No,
Let's
Roger,
chill.
because let's chill. Whenever he talks, even when the break comes, I defer to him. And even when I mention something first, then he starts talking, I defer to him. But when I'm literally in the middle of a sentence and then he cuts in, that is disrespect. That is not privilege. That is absolutely
Okay, well,
disrespect.
I asked him to let you land the plane, so
Right?
please land your
So
plane.
so 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 first and my point is this. This motherfucker. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, 35,000 feet cruising.
So
ready to go.
No, I need to count down because I want to say something. I'm going to watch my mouth because he's older than me. I'm going to watch my mouth.
You forgot your point.
We're in
Hold on.
space,
Why you?
Chief. We're out of the stratosphere
Hold
now.
on.
We're headed into the upper
Can I land
stratosphere.
the plane? Can you shut the fuck up so I can land the plane?
Hold on. Hot sauce. Take a moment. Do your thinking real
No.
quick.
I'm fine. So the point of the matter is this: that the Oscars don't get it right a lot of the time. So to sit here and say, well, how can we talk about a film that didn't even win? The Oscars get it wrong, and that's the point.
Okay,
And Jada was right. At the end of the day, Sinners, the storyline was not complete. It was gumbo patched together, and that's the bottom line. They weren't good at it. I'm sorry, the storyline was not good. Now I can land my plane there.
All right, everybody hold fast. Everybody hold fast. No placeholder. I'm gonna bring you right back up. You're gonna speak first after this. I was trying to stop it from happening, but Chef Mike is here. Y'all done some of them. So here you go. Chef Mike, you got the flow, brother.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourself on this Melee Monday. I really did just jump up to say I'm really quite disappointed in the way that the conversation is going. Not the subject of the conversation, but the fact that I hear more arguments and more back and forth and more shots at each other than actually talking about the subject of the show today. Gentlemen, this is not a personal attack on anyone. This is not up for us up here to overshine or try and outshine anyone. We come to this panel to have serious discussions, to share opinions, and to hopefully translate knowledge and information. We cannot do that if we sound like a fish market. We can only talk one at a time. Now, because, you know, both parties have privilege, I'm really kind of at a point where I can simply just ask that everyone please respect the decorum of the panel and let's continue a great conversation. I'm going to land my plane right there. Thank you.
All right, now I'm gonna bring up no placeholder who hasn't had a chance to speak. Okay, Chef Mike, are you staying for a minute or no? Oh, he dipped. He dipped. Okay, fine. I'm gonna bring back in no placeholder, y'all. He hasn't had a chance to speak, so we're gonna let him get the mic, and we're gonna all simmer down a little bit. We're gonna all simmer down, okay? But I do appreciate the passion that everybody has about this subject matter. No placeholder. You have the flow, my brother. You have the flow.
Oh, what's going on, Roger? I actually put a notation in the back when I did come up initially that I'm mainly here for the after show, but I have not seen. I literally haven't watched enough TV in the last 10 years for me to even make a comment about Oscars. So
Okay, well,
I just
my
wanted to
bad. My
basically
bad.
chat with you guys. No problem.
All
Thank
right, well
you.
then I'll bring you back down, and we'll bring you back up when, of course, once we get into the once we hit the round table after the show. We'll hit you on the round table after the show. My bad about that. I didn't see it. A lot was going on. A lot was being said. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. When it comes down to it, I'm not gonna say the Oscars get it right. I literally said at the beginning of the show that the Oscars was doing such a horrible job to me. I just stopped watching. And I'm glad that when I came back, it seems a little bit better than what it was before I left. I appreciate that because my thing is just because something has a certain subject matter does not mean it should just automatically get snubbed. You should be considered based on how great of a job you did, regardless of what your movie is about, regardless of what genre is in. Because if it ain't that, then why is the Oscars even important? So I'm glad they're getting their stuff together. All right. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all, too. I'm gonna say this now. Now I guess I'll wait till the show ends. Then I say I'll wait till the show. We
Well,
gonna do something interesting for Friday.
So I
Okay.
wanted to get to the horror aspect and then how people could debate whether or not it's a good vampire film. And people said something about the spiritual voodoo aspect. There's components of that where vampires come from that. So people could argue when someone said Hotep earlier, where are the origins of vampirism and vampirism within Vodom? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that the fact that they were able to weave those things together. You look way, right? They are weaving in the fact that there are black vampirism also, and there was an aspect of understanding vampirism, which is how they protected themselves in the film in your black history. So it's like giving you a whole new lineage. So was it a good horror film? I think it was a good horror film, especially when you got one actor playing two roles and they still accomplish the horror aspect without being campy. And then they wove in the Negro spiritual into vampirism. If you're paying attention to that, then you got the other Irish, their background in vampirism and the cultural clash. Like, it was a lot of things that they accomplished with the acting and the script that if you fail or if you don't do it correctly, the film not only doesn't get nominated, but it looks like these two guys are just playing around. So it's a huge hurdle to go from playing vampire to actually achieving a horror film, achieving this voodoo vodum aspect, and then bringing in the fact that black slave ancestry knew how to protect themselves from vampirism. Like, and then there's a lot. And
I want to add to your point when you're finished.
I want to respond to that. I want to
That's
respond
not
to
the
that.
church. That's not the pastor aspect. That's not the cotton. That's not the church. That's not the father son that here on the Black Manosphere panel. We even got to the father son and the reckoning that happens when the son comes back to the father.
So
it was fantastic.
I think we covered all of that when we did the Sinners review, though.
See, here's the situation.
Oh,
because-
you come.
Here's the situation. Perfect timing. This is the point that Jado's talking about that I have to agree a bit with him. So listen, this was a perfect time to introduce black vampirism, right? To introduce our own black vampire lore, like Twilight, like our interview with the vampire, stuff like that. But what did they chose to do? They chose to go with the Irish vampire instead of introducing black vampire with black origins, right? This was the time where you can start creating a fantasy world of black vampirism where vampire true origins come from and things like that. They dropped the bomb on that.
They did. Part two.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Did not. Hold on. Let me say this right quick. Did or did not Stack survive? There's all kinds of shit that could be done with Stack.
Yes.
No. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
All kinds of stuff that could be done with Stack.
That is not what I'm talking about.
No, what we're saying is he literally created a character who survived as a vampire. He literally did that. Did that.
We have seen other black vampires and black, and we have seen other.
I'm saying in this movie, the black vampire survived. So that's all kinds of opportunity to create a whole separate genre based on Stack. There's a whole opportunity for that.
Uru, I don't think you're listening to what he's saying.
He's not listening. He's not. He just in his own world.
No, I don't understand. So why can't you create a genre from Stack? Why can't you create that whole thing you're alluding to? Why can't you create that from Stack?
You had a bigger opportunity to create your own world at the beginning by starting off with the origins of black or Caribbean or African vampires. You had a greater opportunity there.
I mean, but that don't eliminate the opportunity to create a whole genre from Stack. I mean, that's your vision. That is your vision. That is your vision about what you think should be done. But that's not the only way you can do that. That's your vision, and maybe you should write it and direct it. But that ain't necessarily Cuba's vision.
When I say that we can drop something there, and then you change it, well, that's your fucking vision, right? But what I'm saying to you,
no, no, it's not. Look,
that's it.
Kugler literally had a
I am
black
not done talking.
vampire that survived the fall.
I am not done, motherfucker. This is war.
Okay,
Y'all not listening to each other.
fly through the air into the stratosphere, up and away.
No, you're the motherfucker. Black Guru, I promise you, every time I host,
up and away.
He tried to curse.
Calm down.
Guys. Well, shout out to Emerald Edge. Y'all. He says decorum. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. And I'm gonna say shout out to Trell Bentley, who said, Roger, how close are we to 3 hours? We're extremely close. Extremely close. And I'm gonna say
there's a certain direction that things happen with bitch type behavior appear on the scene. There's a certain direction these things go. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Chef Mike says time to go to the round table in the show. Yeah. That's it, y'all. It's gonna be a doozy. Probably come Friday, y'all. We gonna be back at this, but we gonna get some decorum back, y'all. We bringing the show to a close. Please subscribe if you like the best content on social media. You come right here and you get it Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. y'all. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Chicago time. Not where you happen to live. Chicago time. Long live Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.